السلام عليكم. معكم هند بنت سعود العريمي and I'll be your MC for the night. Our respected chief guest, His Excellency Qais Al Yusuf, the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion. Distinguished guest, Mr. Mohammed bin Mahfouz Al Ardi, the Executive Chairman of Investocrop and Chairman of the Board of Muscat Stock Exchange. Valued guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On the behalf of Muscat Media Group and Gulf Leaders Circle, I extend a warm welcome to all of you to the second edition of Times of Oman's Business Leadership Summit 2024. Today's summit brings together top-level executives, senior government officials, business leaders, and industry experts to engage in in-depth discussions on business leadership and excellence, and celebrate their unique achievements. Together, we will discuss emerging trends and innovative business strategies to unlock the potential for sustainable growth in Oman. During the day, we will also present the Times of Oman Business Leadership Awards to celebrate the remarkable achievements of industry captains and organizations who have demonstrated visionary leadership and achieved excellence across Oman's business landscape. We express our sincere appreciation to our partners, Oman Energy Association, Oman American Business Council, Oman Banks Association, and Al Moj Muscat for their support to the event. To start the proceedings, we would like to invite Mr. Mohammed Isa Zajjali, Chairman of Muscat Media Group, to deliver the welcome address.
Your Excellency Qais bin Mohammed Al Yusuf, the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion, Your Excellencies, esteemed guests, and valued participants, welcome to this year's Business Leadership Summit. It's a great honor to stand before you today as we gather to explore ideas, engage in meaningful discussions, and collaborate on solutions that will shape Oman's future, while also celebrating excellence in business leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come together today, it's essential that we reflect on the guiding principles set by His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al-Mu'azzam, whose blueprint for Oman's 2.0 future through Vision 2040 continues to inspire us all. This vision motivates us to embrace innovations, ensure sustainability, and pursue inclusive growth. As we face an increasingly complex global environment, managing geopolitical and economic challenges and disruptions has become more critical than ever. Our task is to adapt, create resilient and sustainable business models, build national talent, and reinforce SMEs to seize the emerging opportunities in Oman. These sectors will play a vital role in driving economic growth, fostering innovation, and ensuring that Oman remains competitive in the global stage. Moreover, as we strive to make Oman a livable and lovable place for all, it is essential that we focus on sustainable development, diversity, and the well-being of our citizens and residents. Together, we can create an environment that nurtures growth and enhances the quality of life for everyone. Today's discussions are testaments to our commitment to realizing these goals, and I am confident that the insight to be shared by our esteemed speakers will ignite transformative ideas. In addition to the important discussions, we will also celebrate the outstanding individuals and companies whose remarkable achievements have contributed substantially to Oman's development. We will honor leaders who have set benchmarks of excellence across industries, driving innovation and contributing to the nation's social and economic progress. Their leadership embodies the values of excellence, integrity, and commitment, and we are proud to recognize their exceptional contributions today. On this note, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to all our partners, sponsors, and speakers. Your generous support has made this summit possible, and we are truly grateful for your commitment to fostering innovation and collaboration within our community. Thank you all for being here, and let us make this summit a memorable and inspiring event. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Isa Zajjali, for setting the tone for today's summit. I would now like to invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Mohammed bin Mahfoud Al-Ardi, Executive Chairman of Investacrop and Chairman of the Board of Muscat Stock Exchange, on stage.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي الوزير، أصحاب السعادة، ضيوف الكرام, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor to be here with you today at the Times of Oman Business Leadership Summit. I was asked to talk about leadership. Leadership is a journey, and all journeys have a beginning. When I think back to my earlier years, growing up in this great country, I'm reminded of the simplicity of those times. Oman in 1960s was a very different place from the Oman of today. This was a time when Oman was not as connected with the rest of the world. It was no longer at the nexus of a sprawling maritime empire that dominated trade routes throughout the Arabian Gulf. The discovery and export of our oil resources was nearly a decade away. There was no running water, no electricity, and only 6 miles of paved road. In this unassuming social and economic climate, life was modest, but it was full of lessons. One of those lessons was resilience. They say that hard times make hard men, and hard men make good times. I want to take a moment to acknowledge His Majesty the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said. His leadership and dedication to Oman left an indelible mark on so many, especially me, both personally and professionally. During my time serving in the Royal Air Force of Oman, I had the privilege of working closely with the late Sultan. His approach to leadership focused on responsibility, humility, and a relentless commitment to his people. These values have stayed with me ever since, and I had the honor of learning from him, and they have served me throughout the rest of my career. I also want to express my deepest gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haytham. His vision and leadership continues to inspire Oman's journey forward. For those of you in this room today who get the opportunity to work and learn from Oman's distinguished leadership, I will simply say to you, grasp the opportunity with both hands. And if you are motivated, fortunate, and determined enough, you will get to where you want to be. Resilience has served me well, not just in the Air Force, but later as I took on challenges in business. I remember when I was just a boy watching planes take off from a small airstrip near our house at the end of a dirt road. Visitors were infrequent, so the pilots seemed like illusions from another world. Sending their aircraft into the sky, I would raise my arms towards them, pretending I could guide the planes myself. Those early dreams of flight stayed with me, and they led me to the Royal Air Force of Oman, where I learned the importance of clarity and focus. I was flying fighter jets by 22, keeping my calm and composure in the rush of adrenaline at high speeds. Taught me more about leadership than any classroom ever could. In those heart-pumping moments of flight, you learn that it is not just about individual skill. It's about trusting your team, knowing that your success depends on their expertise as much as your own. This resilience on teamwork has been a guiding principle throughout my journey. 9 years later, at 31, I was appointed the Chief of the Royal Air Force of Oman, where I had to earn the trust of my team, many of whom had once been my superiors. And when you find yourself in that position, you quickly learn that leadership is not just about command and control. It's about creating a culture of trust, respect, and shared purpose. It is in those early formative years that disciplines and teachings forge a home in your mind. This critical learning set me up for my transition into the world of business, where I took on the role of Executive Chairman of Invescorp. Those early lessons in discipline and collaboration shaped my leadership style. Invescorp has come a long way since I first joined the team. From managing $10 billion in assets to over $53 billion today, from 3 offices to 14 offices around the world. Our journey has been remarkable, but it wasn't without its challenges. The global financial crisis, the COVID pandemic, and fluctuating high interest rate environments have tested our resolve and resilience. Each time we adapted while we navigated these storms, not by avoiding them, but by leaning into them. This, I believe, is a mark of true leadership, staying the course when the path is uncertain. We must also be aware of what's going on around us. The world we operate in has become increasingly complex, especially in the Middle East. Business leaders today face a shifting geopolitical landscape that demands resilience and agility. In the Middle East, recent flashpoints and ongoing conflicts have added layers of uncertainty for investors. The deepening wars, conflicts, and tensions that threaten to spill over are pacing the region on a knife edge. The reality of these factors cannot be overlooked. For the Gulf states, particularly those invested in energy and infrastructure, these tensions impact both the flow of resources and investor confidence. Yes, our region commitment to economic diversification have helped build resilience, making this region a place where opportunities remains plentiful despite the challenges. Investcorp, like other institutions in the region, continues to navigate these complexities with a long-term perspective, seeking to strengthen the investment climate by capitalizing on opportunities while remaining mindful of the geopolitical realities. We also believe that innovation is also a critical driver of progress. As emerging technologies like AI and automation reshape industries, the leaders of tomorrow must embrace these innovations and harness this tech. But just like a pilot in charge of a multi-million-dollar fighter jet, the technology in your hands is only as good as the people who are using it. That's why, for me, leadership is about empowering others to think boldly and act with purpose. There were moments when decisions had to be made quickly, with incomplete information and under immense pressure. During the pandemic, our teams exhibited remarkable resilience, a testament to the robustness of the infrastructure we had in place. The foresight in adopting a hybrid working model, even before the advent of COVID, played a pivotal role in this. When the shift to remote work occurred, our 500 staff members seamlessly transitioned to working from home. Thanks to the pre-established technological tools, the proactive approach not only facilitated continuity in unprecedented times, but also underscored our commitment to operational agility and employee support. The strength of our teamwork carried us through. We learned on each other, we leaned on each other, we trusted our collective wisdom, and we emerged stronger. As we look ahead, I'm reminded that the next generation of business leaders will face new and unpredictable challenges. The pace of change is accelerating, but with change comes opportunities. Opportunities that Oman's young entrepreneurs are well set to capture. They are a source of immense pride. Their creativity and ambition are exactly what our country needs to continue thriving in a fast-evolving global landscape. For the leaders here today, my message is simple. Embrace innovation, invest in your people, and never stop learning. The future belongs to those who are willing to adapt. One lesson I learned early in my career is the importance of situational awareness, knowing where you stand and understanding the landscape around you. In flying, situational awareness is critical. You must be constantly aware of your position, your environment, and your team. The same is true in business. The same is true in life. To be a good leader, you must be present. You must learn and listen to what people need. And you must provide them with the tools and space to grow and contribute meaningfully to something bigger than themselves. Whether in the cockpit or the boardroom, leadership requires you to be on the ground, understanding your people and the challenges they face. So I urge you, if you take one thing away from this 10 minutes of my speech, it is this. Be present with your people. Even today's world of virtual calls, remote working, and distance learning, nothing can replace or replicate the power of human interaction. And on that note, I want to thank the organizers of this summit for bringing together the brilliant hearts and minds here today, convening people from all walks of life to sit around this table and debate and discuss the solutions to our shared challenges. That is how we drive progress. We all know that societies, economies, and communities face a multiplicity of complex and interconnected challenges, whether geopolitical volatility, economic uncertainty, or environmental upheaval. But we also know that we cannot leave the solutions to anyone else. It is up to us now to rise to the occasion and redefine what it means to lead in a time of great and rapid change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Ardi, for your enlightening words. Dear all, Mr. Al-Ardi's latest book, Connecting to the Future, has become a bestseller in the US. This book serves as a comprehensive guide to building a forward-thinking blueprint for dynamic company growth and large-scale success. As a special gesture, he has generously gifted copies of the book for each of you. Please be sure to collect your copy from the counter in the foyer area as you leave the event. Thank you, Mr. Al-Ardi, for this thoughtful gift to us all. Moving on, it is now time to celebrate the outstanding achievements of the top performers in business. We are going to present the Times of Oman's Business Leadership Awards to the distinguished CEOs, leading business owners, innovative SMEs, and outstanding companies whose achievements have contributed to exceptional economic growth, inspired innovation, and set benchmarks for business excellence. We will be presenting 18 awards this morning. To do the honors, I'd like to invite His Excellency Qais Al Yusuf on stage. I would also like to invite Mr. Mohammed Isa Zajjali to accompany His Excellency on stage. The winning company recently came up with the largest IPO in Oman's history, the largest Gulf IPO since 2023, and one of the largest in the border Europe, Middle East, and Africa region in 2024. The IPO was oversubscribed by 2.7 times, with total proceeds amounting to approximately 780 million Omani riyals, reflecting strong confidence from both local and international investors in the company. No points for guessing? Yes, the IPO of the Year award goes to OQEP. Please give them a round of applause as they take the stage. Manufacturing. The winner is known for its unwavering commitment to quality, innovation, and sustainability in the snack food industry for over 4 decades. With a robust portfolio of market-leading brands, they have consistently delivered products that resonate with consumers while upholding high standards of manufacturing excellence, making them a leader in Oman as well as the international market. And the award goes to National Biscuit Industry. Company is a one-stop shop provider for a full range of centralized utilities in the Duqm Special Economic Zone. This concept enables industries to outsource all utilities required to support their operations to the winning company rather than building and running their own utilities facilities. The award goes to Marafiq. Bottled water manufacturing. Established in 1994, the winner is Oman's leading bottled water brand with 30 years of expertise. It has earned the prestigious Certificate of Excellence in Manufacturing from the Asia Bottled Water Association for 11 consecutive years and received His Majesty's Cup for Best Factories twice. The company is known for ensuring high standards in water production and distribution across the Sultanate. The award goes to Oman Oasis Water Company. company is ranked as the world's sixth largest jewelry retailer with over 365 showrooms across 13 countries. In Oman alone, it operates 12 world-class showrooms with further expansions planned. Since entering the Omani market in 2010, it has become the country's leading jewelry retailer, known for its commitment to quality, craftsmanship, and exceptional service. And the award goes to Malabar Gold and Diamond. Company of the Year in FMCG. The winning company has achieved exceptional growth in revenue, profits, and market share during the year, which reflects their strategic vision, innovation, commitment to excellence, and strong customer-focused approach. The winner is the National Detergent Company. In automotive. Launched in 2023, this auto brand quickly became known for blending luxury, adventure, and affordability in the SUV market, delivering seamless premium driving experiences. With advanced technology, safety features, and exceptional comfort, its vehicles integrate effortlessly into modern lifestyles. The award goes to Mohsen Haydar. Company of the Year in Oil and Gas. The winner is getting this recognition for its trailblazing achievement in executing Oman's first local natural gas spot sale. This milestone represents a transformative step forward in the Sultan's energy market, demonstrating the winning company's commitment to advancing Oman's oil and gas sector through innovative trading practices. By introducing this new model of flexibility and efficiency, the winning company not only strengthens its leadership role, but also sets a high standard for future energy market advancements in Oman. And the winner is Integrated Gas Company. Company of the Year Banking. The winning bank has been selected for its outstanding financial performance, innovative banking solutions, and consistent leadership in the Omani banking sector. Its commitment to customer service excellence and sustainable growth has set a benchmark in the industry. The winner is Bank of Masr. companies, it's time to present the awards to the exceptional corporate personalities. The first personality award is SME of the Year. The winner is the founder and CEO of a leading additive manufacturing 3D printing startup in Oman and the MENA region. His startup has 4 patents and attracted $2.5 million of venture capital funding from 4 countries. He has graduated from the 500 Startups 6-month bootcamp, the C3 Social Impact Accelerator in Dubai, and the Leadership 12-month program from the Royal Academy in Oman. And the award goes to Uthman Al-Mandhari, founder and CEO of Innotech. As the co-founder and CEO of Oman's first private venture capital firm, the winner has been driving force in the local entrepreneur ecosystem. Through active early-stage investments and board leadership, he has provided strategic support to several emerging founders, both locally and globally. He has further strengthened the ecosystem through the creation and support of multiple startup programs, scholarship programs for tech and businesses, and hands-on mentorship as a lecturer in entrepreneurship programs. The winner is Abdullah Shakhsi, co-founder and CEO of Phase Ventures. Business Leader of the Year, Digital Transformation. The winner is the Chief Executive Officer of Oman's first managed and cloud service provider. He is part of the executive management and the founding team member of the company established in 2012. He has more than 25 years of diversified experience in ICT engineering, software development, business startup, and leadership. The winner of the Business Leader of the Year in Digital Transformation Award is Engineer Maqbool Al-Wahabi, CEO of Oman Data Park. In insurance. The winner is a seasoned financial executive and currently serves as the Chief Financial Officer of leading insurance provider in Oman. With significant expertise in risk and financial management, his role is critical in overseeing the company's financial strategy, capital management, and ensuring sustainable growth in a competitive market. The winner is Myron Kibriya, CFO Oman of Liva Insurance. Business Leader of the Year in Education. The winner is the Deputy Executive Chairperson of Oman's first full-fledged private institution, committed to providing quality education in business and related fields. Her dynamic leadership and commitment to talent development makes her an ideal candidate for this award. The award goes to Aisha Al-Kharousi. Is Business Leader of the Year in Luxury Real Estate. The winner joined his current company as the CFO in 2007, and in 2015, he was appointed its CEO. Under his strategic leadership, the company has become a $4.5 billion integrated tourism complex and Oman's premier oceanfront development. Previously, he served in finance and leadership roles across major Omani companies, including Petroleum Development Oman and National Bank of Oman. The winner is Nasser Al-Shaybani, CEO of Al-Moj Muscat. The winner is the CEO of Muscat Stock Exchange and the chairman of Muscat Clearing and Depository. He holds over 21 years of executive experience in the capital markets and securities industry in leading financial market institutions, including financial market infrastructure institutions and investment banks. The award goes to Haytham Salim Al-Salmi, CEO of Muscat Stock Exchange. For the Young Business Leader of the Year. Under the winning person's dynamic leadership, MHD Acraze has introduced top global brands like Jatour, ABB EV Chargers, and Enos Grenadier to Oman, driving significant business growth. His focus on strategy led to a 520% sales boost for MG Motors, securing second place in local sales. Recognized among Oman's top 50 personalities in Forbes, 30 CEOs under 30, the winning personalities' leadership, particularly during the pandemic, advanced MHD Acraze market positions through innovation and e-commerce initiatives. Yes, the winner of the Young Business Leader of the Year's award is Muhsin Hani Bahrani, CEO of MHD Acraze. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the last award of the day. It is for the overall Business Leader of the Year. It is our honor to present this award to this distinguished personality. He is the Executive Chairman of Investacrop. Under his leadership, Investacrop grew its assets under management from $10 billion to $53 billion in 9 years, diversified its asset classes, and expanded its global presence. He also serves as the chairman of Muscat Stock Exchange. He sits on several boards, including the International Advisory Board of the Brookings Institute in Washington, D.C., the Eisenhower Fellowship in Philadelphia, the World Economic Forum's Community of Chairpersons, the Harvard Kennedy School's Dean's Council, the Harvard Center for Public Leadership, and is a member of the Global Advisory Council of the Wilson Center. He is a retired Air Vice Marshal and was the youngest and longest-serving chief of the Oman Air Force. He was also awarded the Order of Oman by the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said. He is the author of 3 published books, and his most recent title, Connecting to the Future, became a US bestseller in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome the winner of the overall Business Leader of the Year award. Goes to Mr. Mohammed bin Mahfoud Al-Ardi. Ahmed Isa Zijjali, CEO of Muscat Media Group, to kindly come to the stage for a group photograph. Winners once again. Thank you, Your Excellency and Mr. Mohammed Zijjali, for doing the honors. Before we move on to the next session, let's have a look at short videos on our partner Al Moj Muscat and the Muscat Media Group.
Under the sun, ooh, 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 I'm under the sun, ooh, 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 ooh. doing just fine, one foot in another, floating, enjoying my freedom, singing off key. I like it better when I'm under the sun. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm under the sun. Ooh, 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 ooh. Watch me dance in the sky, do what makes my soul shine. Never ever felt so free. Watch me sit in the lane like a friend on the way. Never ever felt so neat.
Ladies and gentlemen, with our winners' achievements fresh in our minds, let us explore the insights that drive such success with our first panel discussion. The topic for the discussion is From Disruption to Opportunity, Innovating for Sustainable Business Growth. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats as we are starting our first panel discussion. Please take your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, with our winners' achievements fresh in our minds, let us explore the insights that drive such success with our first panel discussion. The topic for the discussion is From Disruption to Opportunity, Innovating for Sustainable Business Growth. The moderator of the panel discussion is Natalie Lindo. Based out of Dubai, she is the senior presenter. She is the senior presenter for Euronews in the Middle East. She has covered news, current affairs, and anchored a business show and feature programs for Euronews. She is an accomplished journalist with over 20 years of experience in organizations including BBC and Dubai Eye 103.8. Please welcome Natalie onto the stage.
Thank you so much for your time and the lovely warm welcome onto the stage. I have to say it's always a warm welcome when I come to Oman. I've been living in the region for a long time and I've been many times for work, but I also have family here in Muscat, so I love coming, love being here, and this place is gorgeous. So first of all, thank you for having me, and hopefully we'll have the rest of our panel join us fairly soon because I think some people have just slipped out to grab coffees, waters, so hopefully we'll get underway as soon as possible. Now, I'll start by introducing the panel. This is not about me, I'm just here to facilitate a conversation. And hopefully we've heard an interesting keynote, we've had the awards, and it's time to get stuck into some of those things in terms of how we can make a difference. So, I will start by introducing my first panelist for us this morning. If we can introduce Ali Hassan Musa. He's a distinguished leader with over 30 years of extensive experience across banking, technology, real estate and hospitality sectors. He's demonstrated a profound commitment to advancing financial sector development through innovation and strategic leadership. Now, you'll know him under his current role as an advisor and financial expert for the Ministry of Finance at Estidama, the National Programme for Fiscal Sustainability and Development of the Financial Sector. This underscores his pivotal role in harmonising fiscal, monetary and economic policies in Oman. Please welcome him warmly onto the stage. Thank you for joining us. Take a seat. This one's for you. So, I must just say, one of the things we will be talking about is this transforming challenges. We're going to be looking at opportunity, sustainable growth. We'll go through all of that today, and we have a lovely panel who will take part in that conversation. Next up, we have Hussein Abdulatif Al-Balushi, Group CFO of Nama Water Services. Now, his background, an extensive experience in leading companies, including KPMG, Nama Holding, Oman Oil Marketing, and Oman Aviation Group. He's an experienced board member in companies covering several industries. Of course, the Deputy Chairman of Oman Air and Marjan Electricity, a board member at Oman Water and Power Procurement Company, Oman Electricity Transmission Company, and Labchem in the UAE. Highly skilled in leadership, strategic planning, so perfect conversation to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Investment Officer, Private Equity at Ominvest. He has over 20 years of experience in the field of investment and financial services. Throughout his career, Badar Al-Shanfari has held various leadership positions, including CEO of Uzbek Oman Investment Company. Prior to his current position, he was the Deputy CEO of Ominvest's private equity subsidiary, Jabreen Capital. In addition to various roles at Ominvest, including its Chief Operating Officer, he's also held roles as EVP of International Strategic Business at Ominvest and Deputy CEO of Eastbridge Partners from Singapore. Welcome onto the stage. Next up, we have Engineer Aladdin Fadil. He is the Chief Commercial Officer at Omantel. He's been the torchbearer of Omantel's digital transformation journey. I'm sure you can all recognise that. Responsible for driving growth of consumer and enterprise business units of Omantel across core telco products, cloud-based ICT solutions and emerging technologies. Renowned in the telecom landscape as a leader with over 20 years of experience. He serves on the board of Zain Group's Nama Water, Oman Data Park and Infoline. Warm welcome to the stage. Thank you so much for joining us. Next up, we have Engineer Makbul Al-Wahibi. He is the CEO of Oman Data Park, the first managed cloud service provider in Oman. He's part of the executive management and the founding team member to establish ODP, more than 20 years of diversified experience in ICT, engineering, software development, business startups, and leadership. Through his visionary leadership, strategic planning, and commitment to excellence, he significantly contributed to the growth and success of Oman Data Park. His achievements have not only elevated ODP's stature within Oman, but positioned it as a competitive player in the global cloud services market. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have Miran Kibira, who is a seasoned financial executive and currently serves as the Chief Financial Officer at Liva Insurance Oman, with significant expertise in risk and financial management. His role is critical in overseeing the company's financial strategy, capital management, and ensuring sustainable growth in a competitive market. Miran, you have a vast background in risk and finance, and as the CFO of Liva, you play a key role in managing the company's finances. Welcome on stage, and just congratulations to both of you on the awards this morning as well. So thank you for having us, and congratulations again. And finally, last but by no means least in any way, we have Khalid Mansour Ansari. He's been a resident in Oman for almost 40 years with a deep understanding of the businesses here and the culture. He joined KPMG in the UK in 1980 and retired as partner in charge of Oman and board member of the KPMG Lower Gulf in 2018. CEO of Al Anwar Investments from 2018 to 2021, before now founding what we know him as Khalid Masood Ansari and Partners LLC in 2021. Current board member of 3 publicly listed companies in Oman. His experience includes auditing a number of diversified companies here, including some of the large owner-managed businesses, publicly listed companies. Warm welcome on the stage and thank you for joining us. I'm sure you don't mind me saying that this is now home for you. This is somewhere that you've decided is a great place to be. So thank you everyone for your time this morning. An interesting discussion, and of course I want to involve everyone in the audience here. So we will be having questions at the end. If somebody says something that you're really interested in, there's a comment you want to pick up on, we will have some microphones at the end if anyone has any questions for the panel, because I'm sure it's going to be an interesting conversation. With that in mind, let's get stuck in now that we're here. So, we're talking about disruption and opportunity and innovation, sustainability. I think, Miran, we'll start with you because one of the things we want to just set the tone with perhaps is, looking at the industry, looking at the way we operate, how are we adapting to geopolitical and economic uncertainties? They've kind of become almost normal now. We're seeing that sort of normalize. So in the last few years, can you tell us some of the strategies that have been incorporated in terms of mitigating risks? Now, hold this point nice and close for me.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having us on the panel. I think there's a number of strategies that organisations adopt to manage uncertainty, and especially where we are now in the geopolitical landscape that we have. Not only that, there's also economic uncertainties that we have. The way companies adopt is by having an agile framework. So companies need to be able to adapt to changing market environment. Now there's multiple agile frameworks that are available in the market and make decisions on that. At the same time, horizon scanning. Companies constantly need to scan the horizon for risks and prepare risk mitigation plans. So those are 2 key elements that most organizations, in fact all organizations, need to continue to develop and continue to be on top of to be able to adapt and be agile enough to then leverage and pivot, not only to mitigate the risk, but then also to exploit any opportunities that may exist as well.
And we heard from Mr. Harari's keynote, he mentioned facing those challenges head on. And, how can organizations maybe turn some of these geopolitical challenges into opportunities for that growth we're focusing on?
So, specifically in the insurance industry, obviously there's a lot of marine business that's being impacted at the moment. That has, opportunities for different type of products and different kind of premiums of products. So, although you have risks, you need to find solutions to help, navigate this risk. So, it also creates opportunities as well as obviously gives the business more risk. But then you have to think about how the risk transfer is done within the business. How much risk you retain yourself? How much risk can you then share? And the collaboration piece is also a big piece then to navigate through uncertain times.
And Miran, you mentioned a key word there, opportunities. Opportunities is what we're all about in business, to be honest. So let's take those opportunities and look closer at investment strategies. So we are seeing that there's a volatile environment. Now, I want to come to you, Badar, and ask you about this. Investment strategy-wise, how are you adopting to diversifying risks and looking at that sustainable growth?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good morning. I feel the region is not new to geopolitical risks. So I think we have lived in this environment for a while. In addition to it, now you have the macro risks that are there, the US elections coming up next week as well. So these factors, we feel, are not going away. They will change as we move along. As a long-term investor, for us, I see 2 key parts. One is working with our portfolio companies to really ensure that they are looking at these scenarios. You cannot, of course, envisage all scenarios. Nobody predicted COVID. But you have to be in a position where you are able to and agile to respond to these, and including possibly expanding or growing the business where others are struggling. And that leads me to the opportunities where we feel this is a very good opportunity to actually look at sectors, companies that we are already tracking that you can actually invest in at an attractive valuation. And we actually have a pipeline of that as we speak. In Oman, we feel there are companies that got impacted with the rise in interest rates, that got impacted with not managing, let's say, their treasury as well. And you can enter at attractive valuation. In addition to that, we also, in a part of our portfolio is in private equity outside of Oman, where we invested in sectors that we feel are more defensive, such as education, and also in markets that we feel they will actually benefit from low oil price. So if the companies we have in the Middle East get impacted, those will actually benefit. And that's another hedge that we look at.
Ali, if I can bring you in here actually, because in terms of the financial service sector, what has been the impact of those geopolitical challenges? Yes, they're not new, but they are still happening.
Absolutely. The financial sector and specifically the banking sector is not isolated from all what's happening around us, whether locally or within the region. We've seen in recent months where interest rates were very high because of what's happening around the world. We really are a village in this global ecosystem. Things are on the right track right now in terms of financial outlook. The banking sector specifically in Oman is well capitalized, is resilient, is financially stable. So the ecosystem supported by strong regulations, banking regulations, financial sector regulation, really protect this important part of the economy.
And Khalid, if I can come to you, what kind of strategies can businesses maybe implement to navigate some of these issues?
If you look at the strategies, but before strategy, there are two critical areas one needs to think about. One is change is inevitable. That's part of the nature. Every day there's a change, And now, with digital technology and innovation, etc., the pace of change is much, much faster. Okay, what we found 20 years ago, today it is happening on a daily basis, even on a minute basis. So one is critical is the change. The other is the growth and survival. Now, change is beyond our control. As business people, we just cannot control change. It's inevitable. But growth and survival is in our hand. And that's why when people look at strategy, it is the leaders of the companies or the businesses who need to think how to survive, overcome the change, and then look at growth. Because if you don't grow your business, in the long run, it's finished. The business just disappears. And that's if you take the history of anything. So you have to grow, even on a very small scale of growth, just to keep up with inflation. Okay. So the strategies have to be designed in such a way that the resilience of the organization is able to take the shock of the changes. And the whole team and the leadership team should be prepared in a way to adapt to the changes fast. You may come up with a very nice strategy for the next 5 years, but something can happen tomorrow beyond our control, like what we saw during COVID. Nobody was prepared for it. But companies survived. We all survived. But at the same time, a lot of companies disappeared. The ones who survived were able to adapt very fast. The ones who disappeared were not able to adapt. So when you're developing strategy, the adaptability and the resilience is important.
And we will come onto agility in a bit more detail because I think that is a really significant part of the conversation. If I can come to you, Engineer Aladdin, if we look at Oman Tel, you're the Chief Commercial Officer, How are you taking those things on board in terms of the current situation? How is that factored in to what you're doing at the moment?
Well, good morning, everyone. As everyone on the table said, there are rapid changes taking place around us. There is now the hype of the AI, which everyone is talking about. Previously, we had COVID that changed so many things in our lives. But in an organization like Omantel, agility is very important. We are like 50 years old company. And to bring agility or ensure that agility exists in the organization by itself requires a lot of action from leadership in the organization. So we have taken this seriously. We've created programs that ensures agility. One of the things that we have created is a safe environment for people to fail. We are allowing failure. So we've seen people trying or employees trying projects that doesn't work. But what we are trying also to embed in the organization that even if you fail, you need to pick up and go back faster. I failed in so many projects in Omantel, so I feel that we have created a safe environment for people, to practice agility. The other important factor is the mix in the organization. So today, proudly, we started a program. We called it Gen Z, which is Generation Z. And today, 10% of Omantel employees are from Gen Z. And, we are intending to increase the number. And we've seen more agility coming to the organization by changing the mix in the organization. So agility is very important for any organization. It brings innovation, for sure, and it opens our eyes as an executives, for things that maybe we are not seeing the way the Gen Zs are seeing it. There's another thing that is interesting that we have created is a shadow management. So there's the executive management of the company, but there is a shadow management from Gen Zs. They're all Gen Zs. They attend the executive meetings, they take decisions, they have a mandate to deliver, and all of these collectively have contributed very well into maintaining agility in Omantel.
I love the discussion on failure and it being such an open conversation in the company. That's really something to be admired, and you talking about your own failures and what you've learned from it. We are going to move on to sustainability and looking at those. Sustainability, as we know, a buzzword in many ways, but when we talk about sustainability, we're looking at conservation, protection, but we're also talking about the sustainability of companies. How do we keep them prospering? How do we keep them developing? And that sounded like a very interesting way to go about it. So let's look at some of the steps your companies are taking to build these sustainable business models and balancing profitability, because if you're not making money, the business isn't surviving. We'll maybe start with you, Hussein. How at Nama Water do you balance this profitability with the sort of long-term ESG goals?
Well, good morning, everyone. Sustainability is very essential for service provider, especially when you provide essential service, not only for sustainability of your company, but also to the nation and to the country. So without the water services, we will stop the growth of Oman and economy of Oman. Even, the whole diversification plan and vision for 2040, which is, Oman is planning to achieve it. Definitely in Nama Water Service, we started in very early stages where we have put an objective, to balance between our short-term and long-term, objectives, and also to have a balance between economic, social, governance, and environment objectives. So I give you a couple of examples which shows, that we complement from each other actually. In fact, we start now benefiting from our early adoption of the sustainability, and we start realizing that as a profitable to the company. So a part of our byproduct, we get solid wastage in the wastewater, and we convert that to the fertilizers, compost. By doing this process, actually, we reduce the emission of harmful gases to the ozone layer. So we start certifying that, recognizing that, and selling this credit point to
companies who need of that actually. So we start generating money from our normal process of converting byproduct, and we already done some of the transaction. In the future also we're going to do more and more. Another example, actually, part of our job actually, or part of our businesses, we do care a lot of environment and environment initiative, which we do. So the company has been recognized by independent auditor as we are eligible for green, blue, and social bonds. What that means that if we tap in the market, we will have a better room from a fund provider, and we will get it at least 50 basis lower than the market prices in the commercial bonds or loans, and that will be another benefit for the company which they get. So what I'm saying here in conclusion that sustainability and environment actually initiative which we take in that is start materialize and getting benefit to the company. So we are complementing each other's, and it's not an investment without a return.
Amazing. So if we take a look at this organisational agility, we've kind of touched on it in some of the answers already, but I think we're seeing disruption becoming the norm in everyday life with AI, as we've mentioned, in business. We're seeing those kinds of changes happen. Now, how rather do we ensure organisations do remain agile and are able to respond to these situations and rapid market changes? We've got Gen Z as oversight with you, but I think we need to look maybe how different things people are doing to foster leadership development. If I can ask you, Khalid, what kinds of things are happening where you are in terms of fostering that culture of innovation, agility, keeping on top of everything that's going on and making a holistic approach?
If you look at the leadership, I have the benefit of experience that I'm not in running a company. I'm a consultant, so I'm sitting on outside, and I look at numerous companies in numerous industries. The key challenge I see is development of leadership. We are going to have acute shortage of skilled people. I think that's my estimate, with a lot of deep experiences, because the market is shifting very fast. And people are moving jobs also very frequently. Gone are the days when people like me joined KPMG and survived for 38 years. You don't hear that anymore.
The life is.
The life, you joined Toyota, you never left. You joined and you went. So the market dynamics have changed, and one of the reasons for the change is this globalization and the technology bringing us together. So everybody knows, what my next door is doing, what my competitor is doing, and everybody is in this field. So the biggest challenge in leadership, in my view, is to develop people. Develop people, management. Technology you can buy. Okay? Change you can buy, processes you can buy, but it's the people, it's the team which makes it success. If you don't have a good team, and that starts from leaders at the top down to the T-boy, if you don't have a good team, no matter how good your technology, the companies will not survive. So my view is that in this dynamic change, which is happening pretty rapidly, leaders at the top and across the company must look at people. It's the people who make the difference, because they are the people who deliver in the end. AI will do its job, machine will do its job, but you need a human to sort that out. So that is the key focus. If you have that right, the rest just follows in line.
And Hussein, if I can come back to you at Nama Water, how are you transforming some of these changing needs? Because I guess you're kind of meeting the needs as a nation, because they're your customers, but also you're playing your part in the Oman 2040. So how are you meeting those needs?
Well, we tried actually not to be only a service provider or less an obligation which we have, to ensure that we provide water and wastewater services to our customer. But we're going beyond in that, try to see what is the bigger picture actually, what Oman is doing and where is the objective and how we can be helpful on that. So part of Oman 2040 vision actually that we diversify our economy. And to do that, definitely the essential services has to be reliable and affordable for new investors who want to invest in Oman. So if they want to invest in Oman and the water services at very high cost, and it's not reliable, that won't be encouraging actually. That won't be an attractive, parameters for them. So we ensure actually we align that to our service provided. Plus we also a champion in the green hydrogen project, which is going to be another diversifying green project, which the national economy has taken. So we are the sole provider for water for that project, which is going to help Oman also in diversification. Plus, by recycling and reusing the waters, we enhance the agriculture sectors in Oman. So that's another initiative which we're doing. We also link our development. So we spend about 250 million to 300 million annually on transmission distribution line, but we link it to where our economy and development is happening so that we can support, the national agenda. To have reliable and sustainable water is good, but without having the quality, because it's an essential service and people use it in their drinking. So we have intensive protocol for quality measurement. So we do annually about 700,000 tests of quality of waters in different places in Oman, on random basis and on a regular basis, to ensure the quality is sustainable. To adopt to the technology, we taken that in our consideration definitely. So we start implementing almost 70% of our client has automatic meter or smart meter, we call it. The feature of these meters actually, they do self-reading, and if you download our application, you can see your consumptions on daily basis, on hourly basis. So that build up the trust and the loyalty between us and our customer, and reduce number of complaints which we receive. And at the same time, also, this meter can alert you if there's any leakages in your house, and that also avoid high bills and dissatisfaction of the customers. So we're working a lot. At the same time, environmentally, we won't forget our obligation to the environment. So we have set up our framework for the environment and ESG, and we're also doing a lot of initiatives to help Oman to achieve their vision of zero emission by 2050. Finally, society-wise, we also closely working with the society to, especially the challenges which we have, currently is for job seekers and how to find for them opportunities. So we have several programs where we train local Omanis and SMEs to start their own businesses, and we manage, to pass that level. Now we ring fence some of the bids only for those companies. So all distribution connections which we do, all SMEs, we don't, provide it to other than them. Any bids which is below 50K, we give it, always to SMEs. And also leak detector and other companies, all Omani. So we have more than 30 million annually. We award tenders to SMEs. That's a part of our commitment to the society.
So those SMEs require leaders. We're hearing from Khaled there might be a leadership shortage. We're hearing from Alazin about the fact that there might be Gen Zs being prepared in these shadow roles to become future leaders. Do we need to redefine leadership, how we take on that role? Miran, if I can come to you, you're nodding your head. Leaders are often faced with tough decisions. They're navigating, pivoting a company. How do leaders, take those calculated risks? How do they develop to become the people that we need?
I think just to reflect on my colleagues' comments, leadership is being redefined. Long days are gone. The days are gone where a leader will come and say, I need this flow by tomorrow morning, get it done. The emotional intelligence, the emotional quotient, the understanding your employees, understanding their needs, their desires, their aspirations is just as critical as getting the task done. I think without having a connection with your people, you are unable to lead them as effectively as possible. Without having a sense of purpose in the organization of why you're doing what you're doing, it's very difficult to keep people engaged. It's a very transient workforce now. As you mentioned, Gen Z, they'll come away for a couple of years, move again. What you want to have is employees who are empowered, because that's the only way you will achieve, and deliver your results, by having leaders who empower their employees, empower their staff to take decisions. That's the way. That's the future of leadership in my mind.
And Ali, if I can bring you in here, we're having rapid changes in terms of the business environment. What about that corporate leadership? Where do we see that evolving in terms of driving new business and standards?
This is a key role of any leader, is really to lead transformation, lead the organization to achieve its goals. In terms of if we talk about transformation, about leadership and its role within that aspect, I think transformation, if we look at it, is not a journey, it's not a destination, it's a journey, it's not a project. This is where leadership is required to ensure that the corporate goals are achieved through that transformation, through empowering people, as my colleague said, and creating the DNA of innovation, as my colleague from Oman said, the innovation, being customer-centric. Other than being customer-centric, you need to be future-focused as well. Having cross-functional teams, agile teams, within that formula, that's where leadership is essential, is to move the organization forward.
So we're talking about leadership. Let's look at some of those qualities that would really be essential for leading people and taking them forward. If I can come to you, Engineer Makbul, Oman Data Park, you're working with lots of brilliant companies, organizations. We've seen many of them here today. What kind of qualities do you think we need to see in these leaders?
Thank you. I think the team have touched upon a lot of these leadership skill set that is required today. Surprisingly, there is a lot of qualities that has to be incorporated today that were not necessarily be required a decade ago. Because of the fast pace of technology development, because of the how quick and how fast things are getting in place, it requires leadership to be at the same speed, if you like. So communication is a very vital component, and communication today cannot be done like in a monthly manner. It has to be in a daily almost. And utilizing the platforms where you communicate with your people, as you rightly said, you need to tell them where we are going. You need to have the vision, you need to have the purpose very much clear to them, and remind them of it frequently. And so that they can buy that purpose, and they can actually get sort of the buying and the emotional and the passion towards executing that particular purpose. So communication today has to be very fast. Again, resiliency. Resiliency is very important because that's the only way you can maneuver these kind of changes and adapt your business model as fast as possible to incorporate those changes and maneuver around them. So after resilience, adaptability. Adaptability today is very much required. You need to adapt all kind of changes and basically grow with them and act as if they are an opportunity, not an obstacle anymore, and see how you can actually leverage on them. There is also one important aspect today, which is reading the future. As the saying goes, leaders are readers. And today we are required to read. We are required to see where things are going in the next 10 or 20 years, not after 1 month or the end of the budget year. That's the moment you start your budget year, that's done for you. You need to think about what's happening 10 years from now, so that you make sure your business models are robust enough to cater for the changes that are coming. Today we have artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is like, taking us on frequent surprises. ChatGPT coming in one sense. Okay, how on earth I'm going to use this in my organizations and start, utilizing this tool so that my organization can perform better. Should I start thinking about not writing emails anymore? where my people can utilize ChatGPT or other to write their email. These shifts requires cultural changes within your organization, and that comes with communication. As the saying goes again, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Whatever strategies you have in place, if your people are not ready culturally to adapt to it, forget it. Those strategies will be like papers on the roof. They will never be executed, because that is where communication becomes of a vital component. So these principles today, and I maybe sum it up at the end with echo what you said around, and yourself, Khaled, around making sure that you empower your people, making sure that your focus is your people, not the technology, not even the economics anymore. The economics can only be achieved by your people. The more you empower your people, the more you take care of them, the more you show them the resiliency required, the better chance they will execute everything else, be it economically, from numbers perspective and KPIs, or technology related.
And Ali, do you see this collaboration, this idea of using technology will help leaders, face those challenges and build growth-orientated business models? Because collaboration is something I took away from what you said there, and working together, whether internally or with external partners like you're all doing at the moment. Do you think that is making a big difference, and is that the direction you're going?
Yes, it does actually. We noticed that in plenty of areas where we have adopted technologies, and it did support us actually to achieve our goals, whether it's a short-term or medium-term or long-term goals. However, as mentioned by my colleagues, actually, preparing the leader to use those technologies and making best out of it, that's more important. So now, whether using technology, we start facing new challenges which has never been in our agendas earlier. So you have plenty of data and you don't know how to maximize usage of that. So for example, in our industries, when we install smart meters in the houses, we start learning a lot of trends and habits of the consumptions of waters or wastewater in those houses. And it was important to us how to analyze that number of data, which is a huge, and try to take advantage of it and prepare ourselves for future so that we can, learn from the past experience. Decades back, we didn't have this information available with us so that we can benefit out of it. So now it's become actually a trend of, a click, you get it, So also using technology, part of our agenda that we would like, to stop our physical interaction with our customers, actually. So in 5 years, we won't have any physical branches available to serve. The service will be in the phone or digital platform, what they have, so that all the services which we have, they can, by click of, button, get it, done while they are at their homes. So that's another, trend which is changing our natural of business. Again, other than technology, I would highlight, in the R&D actually. What we notice with the climate changes and the impact of Oman, we start receiving more cyclones in Oman, and the quantities of the rain has increased than what it used to be in the past. So recently we start diverting that, our dependency only on the desalinated water to actually rainwater we use it, and we floated the first tender for Wadi al-Dhiqa, where we're going to use the fresh water which is available there for source of waters. And in the future, we believe we need to change our policies of how we're utilizing the fresh water, and should be our source of feeding us, in the water supply.
And you've mentioned the app and moving on to technology in terms of no physical offices anymore. People will be doing everything on their phones. We're doing lots of that already. We're going to talk a little bit about digital transformation, but I just want people in the audience to have a little think. There's lots of companies here, business leaders. Do you think digital transformation is something that you're embracing? A quick straw poll along everyone here. You can just nod or shake your head if you want. Do you feel many businesses, companies here in the region are embracing digital transformation? Would you say, Khaled, yes?
Yes.
No?
Yes,
Yeah.
no option.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's saying yes. I mean, it's evolve or end up being left behind, I guess. So let's take a little closer look at those digital transformations, the initiatives that are driving these innovations. Some of it is necessity, technology. Some of it is ChatGPT. Can I save time? Can I do it smarter? Can I ask somebody else to do it smarter? You know, which are those things that can add to what we're doing, and which of those things still require that human touch in terms of us seeing each other, having conversations in person today. So if I can maybe come to you, Bada, you know, digital transformations are essential, but what are the challenges particularly your company is looking at?
We are an investment company, so we see it through a lot of the investments we've made, and also looking at the market in general. While I think everyone agrees, nobody says we don't want to do digital transformation. As in many things, it's easier said than done. I believe the successful ones, in a McKinsey report, they mentioned using AI tools, moving to more digital processes, saved almost 60% of their being optimized. Now, going to the more difficult part, where in the same report, 30% of data transformations based on that study have been successful. And that tells you it is not an easy task. So what were the main obstacles? Three really came out, which I think we've touched upon here in the panel in one way or another. One was legacy systems. So we talk about financial services, other sectors. It is easy to say I'm going to integrate all these systems, but in practice it is not easier said than done. It might take years. The second is human nature resistance to change. And going back to the point of culture, which is a critical aspect. And again, going back to people, the third is, it turned out, is actually a big gap between the skill set required and the existing employees. So those are the three critical areas to look at when you're looking at data transformation or digital transformation. And from the investment side, we actually look at the other way. So if I'm looking at two companies to invest in, why would I look at a company that has a lot of legacy issues that might need time to move to digital transformation? I'd rather go to the disruptors there in the market now that come with a clean slate, have the technology in place, and are more efficient. My personal view is that it will be a combination of both. So you'll have some existing players really either acquiring or working with the fintechs of the world, the insurtechs of the world, to increase the success rate of digital transformation from 30% to a higher figure.
I think you mentioned a key point there. Adoption is crucial. You know, whether it's from the companies, a buy-in from customers, maybe using an app, that is something that really will define how successful somebody ends up being. Miran, if I could ask you, you know, this digital transformation, businesses need it to stay competitive. They need it to stay relevant. How are you viewing this?
So, COVID was the big accelerator for digitalization and for digital transformation. Insurance companies transact remotely, you can do claims remotely, call somebody up. You know, the whole process of insurance has changed because of digitalization. The transformation within insurance industry is now focused on a number of key areas. One is the shift of the customer. The customer no longer should see a company for what it is. An insurance company, the customer should see the company as an insurance company, should see it as a provider for service. So, for example, certain companies in Saudi Arabia, for example, will totally change the dynamic of what the insurance company is. So, there's Uber Arabia, for example. People no longer look at Uber as an insurance company, they look at it as a healthcare provider. You know, and that's because they've changed the shift of their services by digitalization. So they have a very, very fancy app, all the services are there. They use data to notify somebody if you're using wearables, if they're doing well, they'll check up on you if your BP is high. So the transformation within the insurance industry is rife. I think we're at a very pivotal point. Insurance companies no longer are just insurance, they're massive data centers. The amount of information insurance companies have on customers, on products, on businesses, that shift now is how do we use digital transformation to leverage all that data to then get
interesting point there, because it's true when you suddenly have your insurance company saying, wow, your blood pressure's a bit high, maybe get that checked, but also, do you know we cover massages? Why don't you start doing that? I think suddenly then the customer feels like a person, not a number. And I think that's what the change is. It's using that information, connecting the person, the company, and the service to make a circular, rather than saying, okay, we take your money, and if you claim, we pay out. Sometimes we don't. You know, when you tell people you work in insurance, I'm sure sometimes they're a little bit suspicious. You know? So,
There's all that always joke, you know, if I pay you insurance, if I have to make a claim, can I get the money back? That doesn't happen. So obviously, the perception of a business needs to change. And that customer centricity is what needs to be in everything that we do. So the customer perceives value and gets value from that insurance.
I mean, it's a very salient point, because everybody's nodding. People here are agreeing, because it's one usability case where you can say, look, this is working. Because many people might be sat here thinking, yes, I would love my customers to feel like that, but how do I get there? And how do we get from where we are now to there? And I think that takes us very nicely to the next question, balancing those short-term and long-term goals. How do you strike a balance between those immediate challenges? Most business leaders here are thinking, well, I need to keep things ticking over. I need to keep making money, and the business needs to run as it is. But how do I get to this Bupa model? And that's what we need to maybe take a closer look at. Khalid, if I can come to you, what is a good way then to look at my short term is I need to keep the ship sailing on steady waters. The long term is I need to find a way to innovate, or I'm going to get left behind.
Yeah. I'll just start off by a very famous quote from the economist John Maynard Keynes, who said, in the long run, we are all dead. Okay. Now, so that, he says, focus on the short term, because, it's pretty clear. So my view is that anybody who's developing strategy and looking at goals, you got to look at today. The power of now is far more important than tomorrow. And that's what people should think. And most of the people, knowingly and unknowingly, we all do, because we have to look at today. So coming back to the business, long term, you have to plan. In that long term, we need to be able to build in flexibility and adaptability. If circumstances change, how do we react to it? So that's very important, that you build in flexibility. The short term is far more critical, because what you build today will lead you to the long term. So when I'm looking at somebody's strategy, I see, what are you today? And is that strategy of today robust enough to take you to the journey for the long term? Because in the long term, there will be so many factors which will change for guaranteed that short-term strategy will not be able to cope with. So you've got to look at today to be able to be successful tomorrow. If you're not successful today, tomorrow, forget it.
I mean, I'd like to, quite a few of you are nodding your head. Is there anyone that wants to add to that in terms of looking at the long term and short term? Because it is, it is something that is really difficult to balance.
Yeah, I think, just to take up the point, I think that long-term vision is important, but having the agility to course correct throughout, because pensions changes are constant. One day is big, the next day is a different challenge. Having the agility in the business and having the agility frameworks is key in delivering both the short-term, medium-term, and making sure that the overall long-term goals are still kept. But I think businesses need to be brave enough sometimes to say, this is right for us anymore. What we decided 3 years ago as the future is no longer relevant. And businesses need to go back and bring up and re-see and revisit. But the main thing is that customer feedback, understanding from the customer what is actually relevant now. Before 3 years ago, it might have been one thing, and now today it's something totally different. So I think the agility is so key within your strategies to make sure you're successful in each one.
Allow me to hijack here a little bit. This reminds me of a nice book, and I advise every leader to read it, if not yet. James Collin wrote a nice book with his team called Built to Last. اسم الكتاب Built to Last. And Built to Last, you must be, you must have read it. It's all about how to be fast and agile in your decision to adapt the changes. There is a good example. What they did in that book, they actually brought the 100 plus years company, and they argued why on earth they managed to sustain 100 years plus. So all the book is about questioning how did they make it. There is American Express, there is Boeing, there is Boeing, for instance, is a nice story. Boeing, after the World War II, had no business because at that time Boeing was only serving Ministry of Defense, and at that time it was McDonnell Douglas dominating the aircraft industry in the United States. Guess what? The CEO of Boeing came to the board and told them, you know what, we need to change our strategy and we need to change it fast. How? By utilizing their competency over building the best engine for Ministry of Defense, which is military aircraft, incorporating that technology and capability into the civil aircraft, if you like. And they debated, and the board was not ready actually to take his thought until he won the argument, and he actually told them that if this does not run through, I'm ready to lose my job. And guess what? Today, where is McDonnell Douglas? And where is Boeing? So that shift that Boeing had made had saved around more than 60,000 employees in that company. Otherwise, they would have actually been somewhere else. So what happens here, you need to be fast in your decision, and you need to read the future, and you need to be adaptable to the fact that your business model has to change in order to move forward. You don't be stuck like Nokia and like the guys who were actually taking pictures. Kodak. They were the enemy of their own ego, if you like, because they thought, no way, the digital will take us over.
Yeah. iPhone who. If we can come now to our final question, actually, because we're talking now, lastly, about the future outlook, looking ahead, which is exactly what that book's doing. How do you survive for 100 years? What do you see as the biggest opportunities for growth in your industry, and how do you plan to capitalize on them? If we can start here, I think it would be nice to just finish with a word from all of you, actually.
Sure. So, in terms of looking forward, in terms of future aspects within the financial industries, to be specific, really AI will play a big role. Data analytics, we're getting so much data now about the customer and it's alternate data. It's not from one source. It's from multiple sources because everything is connected. I go and pay my bill, utility bill, the bank knows about it through the credit bureau because everything is connected. So how do you utilize this in order to be better, in order to predict what's going to happen? AI plays a role. Humans actually lead it, and it's always important to have the right skilled people, but they have limitation in terms of agility. AI in terms of predictive modeling, based on the analysis, based on the models that we built, is really the key forward. Data analytics, predictive modeling, we're talking about customer-centric customer experience, improving the customer journey. We're moving ahead from all of this now. We're moving into personalization and hyper-personalization. So imagine today there are services available, banks offering this, using AI, looking at your spending behavior and sending you a message, a personal message only to you, saying this offer is for you only because they have predicted what you're going to do based on your spending.
And Hussein, what about you?
Well, disruption always brings opportunities. I will summarize actually with the title of our panel, and that's what we need to grab as leaders in the business and try to maximize it. So I've been through my experience actually in different places. Always I've seen opportunities comes in the tough times. So good example, I was leading the crisis management in aviation sector during the COVID crisis. And it was one of the most affected, actually, sector where our airport has been shut down for 6 months. And so many challenges. Suddenly I received a call in one of the weekend from my boss telling me, how are you doing, how is everything? I knew that behind that there is a surprise.
Something was
actually.
coming, yeah.
So I said, I want to tell you that you've been selected to run the sector during the crisis. Initially it was unpleasant news, but what we done after that was great opportunities has been opened. I mean, we noticed the oil prices going down, so we had the opportunity to hedge the oil prices at a very low cost, and that represents 40% of our flying cost, actually. We found, I mean, that we had a negotiation with our partners where those was blocked in the boom time, actually, because they are too busy to do business. They never, open that. So we managed to negotiate and bring the cost, base to a very low level, which is we never anticipated that would happen in a good days. So summary, disruption bring opportunities.
And investment-wise, where are we seeing the opportunities? Where are you capitalizing?
I believe it's no surprise to anyone that whether it's our existing portfolio or future portfolio, if we don't see them embracing technology and digitalization, I don't want to say because we have a portfolio company here on the panel, but if they don't, if that's not happened, then the recommendation would be really to look for an exit from that investment. To give an example, BlackRock mentioned AI managed or driven portfolios outperform traditional by almost 12%. And that is, that's the kind of challenge that will only increase. Insurtech, fintech, and renewables are expected to grow annually 15 to 20% in the next decade. So whatever we'll invest in, technology has to play a key role. We don't believe the financial sector will be replaced by only fintechs. We believe in the model where they will actually enhance the current businesses, but those that don't embrace it will be left behind.
And what about at Omantel? Where do we see those opportunities?
Well, where I come from in telecom and ICT, I think, Maqbool, we are very much challenged, as you know, in the technology domain. I believe that telecom is already a commodity. People take it for granted. You have to have an internet in your phone, and it has to be high quality. That's given for everyone. Telecom, as we know it today, will change, and I think it will change in 2 to 5 years. I don't think people will be carrying mobile phones anymore. It will, dissolve into wearables, and that's completely a different model. IoTs will take over. So basically, the future of telecom and ICT will change. With all the factors, and I think we used AI a lot in our discussion, but I think also AI will change a lot of things on the ICT domain. For companies in telecom and in ICT, they need to be prepared very well, for the future, because the models that we are operating today are no longer sustainable. It's very heavy on capex. We need to invest more, and the margins are getting very thin. We started venturing new businesses. Fintech is one of them. Insurtech is another one. We're trying to take their business as well, and their business. So we're trying different things: e-commerce, building data centers, building infrastructure for AI in Oman. These are all of the things that we are building as we speak. And I think here there's a responsibility with every leader that we need to read and predict the future for a sustainable business. But this time it will not be easy.
So, Michael, data centers, data parks, where are we going next?
Well, if there is anything I've learned during my my years with Oman Data Park since the inception, it's diversification. And diversification is what saves you in those volatile circumstances, COVID and And I don't know what's going to come next, probably another bubble or another crisis, financial crisis. So make sure that you have a good diversification portfolio within your company. That's number one. Number two is adaptability. Be adaptable to changes. Study the change. And like artificial intelligence, how is it going to actually be an element where it can leapfrog your business? That's only an example, but in technologies, you have a lot of things that you can actually adapt. The business model itself has to be adaptable. You need to change it. There is nothing called static. You need to be dynamic. A static is finished. We are living in a world of dynamic in every single aspect. Even the business model has to be dynamic. The culture has to be dynamic. The people has to be dynamically thinking. The third and last element I would advise a lot of corporates is basically the resilience part. You need to be resilient. Muhammad bin Mahfouz al-Ardi, in his keynote, he mentioned the word resilience more than any other word in his keynote. I was like trying to count it and I missed the count. So resilience coming from somebody like Muhammad bin Mahfouz, who's, is a great leader in the space that he serves. He been repeating the word resilience. Be resilient to change. And one last thing, I want to echo what you said, but in a technology manner. The landscape is changing. Telecom companies are not telecom companies anymore. They're becoming digital. Insurance companies are not insurance company anymore. They are becoming health institutes, for instance. Banks are not banks anymore, and they will not be banks. Banks will be those people who will serve you even if you want to buy a ticket to go with your family and visit a country. It's going to be done through a bank. Why? Because the banks can actually know exactly were you able to do that from a budget perspective. They know your budget, they know your financials. Then the landscape going to change. Uber today does not own a single taxi in terms of asset. Guess what? They are the biggest taxi company. So be adaptable to these kind of changes that's happening around us. Your company might not be the company that you thought it is. You need to change it into another company using your core competency that you have. So as James Collin always repeats in his book, preserve the core and stimulate the progress.
Mira?
Yeah, I think all the panelists have really hit the points: agility, stability, being resilient. I think I'm probably just going to add, in terms of the insurance industry, there is a significant amount of change going through now. You mentioned insurtech. I think rather than taking each other's businesses, we should probably think about partnerships and how we can both win-win. So I think in the future there'll be more integrated, embedded insurance products across all industries, or many industries. I think we'll move to a more subscriber-based, usage-based premiums. And I think the overall, like I say, the outlook on digital and AI, it all sounds great. At the moment, AI in insurance is being used for pricing. So it's being used to see if you are a good driver. There's something called telematics, which looks at how you drive. Do you drive fast in between the lights? Do you stop and start a lot? Then there's things, for example, for fraud, wastage, and abuse. There's AI tools that looks at the type of claims you're making, right? So I think the opportunities are endless, and I think, as all the colleagues have mentioned today, it's being aware of them, being open to change, and utilizing what technology works for the industry. But for the insurance industry, there's significant change going on.
And Khaled, finally, to you.
Let me step back a little bit, because I'm not in any industry, yeah? You covered everything. Two things, very critical. One is the integrity portion, because there's so much data, so much information. The danger is integrity, that if somebody gets hold of those data, you've had it, okay? So integrity, we are governed by all these AIs, etc., which is not in our control. Okay? So that's something to think about it. How do we ensure there's integrity in data in the process? The other one is very futuristic. You got AI. I'm looking for AI version 2, where I'll be sitting and my mind connects to the machine I think about something and the machine produces that. And that's likely to come. So I would think about something and you'll have AI version doing everything. Even for me to input, I won't be required. So the way the technology is moving, 50 years from now, things will be very different, yeah? But tomorrow may be even more different. Thanks.
It's easy to be the smiler when you're not still in there and you're just giving the advice. Thank you so much, panel, for your time today. It was a really interesting conversation. I hope you all in the audience took something away from it as well. It was a pleasure to host you all. Thank you very much.
Take a short break. Please join us back in around 20 minutes for our next session.
sky never on my own.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the second panel discussion. The topic for the discussion is Oman's path ahead, new opportunities for growth. The discussion will be moderated by Murtada Lawati, AGM Marketing and Communications, Oman Housing Bank. Murtada is a seasonal professional with extensive experience in marketing and corporate communication. Previously, he held key roles at Al-Izz Islamic Bank, Oman Environmental Services Holding Company, and Al-Moj Muscat, among others. He also brings valuable experience from his long tenure as an English news anchor at the Public Authority for Radio and Television. Please join me in welcoming Murtada to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. I've been given the difficult task of keeping you guys engaged before lunch. But before I start, thank you for the great introduction, Hind. For the last couple of years, I've been emceeing a lot of these events, and I've been on stage for a lot of these events. And I'm really proud to see new talent come up. Hind, if you guys don't know Hind Al-Araimi, she's actually a medical student in Sahar, and I think she did a wonderful job today. So big round of applause for her, please. All right, so welcome everyone. Today's panel discussion is going to be on the path ahead, new opportunities for growth. And I think it's a pivotal moment for all of us in Oman. We stand at a crossroad of tradition and innovation, and that's one of the most difficult things I think that needs to be managed. We'll explore the potential avenues of growth, and we'll dive into the diverse sectors that are shaping the future of the economy. And to help me do that, I've got a great panel. So let's start by inviting them up on stage. To start off, our first panelist, Aisha Al-Kharousi, Deputy Executive Chairperson of the Modern College of Business and Science. She's a seasoned leader with nearly 30 years of experience across publishing, finance, aerospace, and known for her strategic vision and international influence. She has held key roles, including the Deputy Regional Director at Boeing, and founded initiatives like Injaz Oman, an advocate for talent development and active philanthropy. And she holds a degree from the American University and London Business School. Aisha. Big round of applause for Aisha. Aisha is also a colleague of mine, and I've learned so much from her. She was leading the marketing in NBO and in Al-Izz, and we had to fill big shoes when I took over that role. Up next, our next panelist is Abdullah Jabri, Deputy CEO of Tasneem Group. He brings over 22 years of experience in the energy sector, specializing in oil and gas field development, project management, and carbon sequestration, and formerly Chief Commercial Project Officer at PDO. Please help us in welcoming him to the stage. Our next panelist is Shabib Al-Ma'mari, Managing Director of the national travel operator Visit Oman. He's a visionary leader with 20 years of experience in driving growth and innovation in Oman's travel and tourism sector. Leading Visit Oman, the Sultanate's premier digital travel operator, he spearheads the organization in connecting the world to Oman's captivating beauty. A big round of applause for him. Our next panelist is Abdullah Shakhsi. Abdullah, congratulations on the award, first of all. He's the co-founder and CEO of Phase Ventures, Oman's first private venture capital firm, and has over 10 years of experience in investment in public and private equities. and serves on the board of several US, European, and Middle East-based startups. A big round of applause for Abdullah, please. And next we have Dr. Fatin Al-Zajjali, the head of learning and development in Bank Dhafar. She was the acting assistant dean for academic support and student affairs at the College of Banking and Financial Studies. And she began her career as a banker, worked in 2 of the major banks in Oman, and then joined CBFS and evolved into the role of academic and training faculty, and then joined the banking sector once again. A big round of applause for her. And last but not least, we have Uthman Al-Mandari. Of course, Uthman is the founder and CEO of Innotech, the leading additive manufacturer 3D printing startup in Oman and the MENA region. He has 4 patents, attracts $2.5 million of venture capital funding from 4 countries, and has hired 30 talented team members from Oman. A big round of applause to Uthman as well. Thank you all for being with us. So this is an important panel. We've got education, we've got oil and gas, we've got technology, we've got tourism, we've got investment. We're going to touch upon a lot of different things, but just to start off, since this is the Business Leadership Summit, I'm going to give you guys a curveball, right? We'll do a hot potato question. In 3 words, I want you to describe leadership. What is leadership? Let's start with you, Aisha. 3 words. Describe the perfect leader in 3 words. What's leadership? So,
create leaders out of followers.
all right, great.
Okay, so 3 words is caring, advancement, and actually compassionate.
Perfect.
I might use more than 3 words. To me, leadership is all about leaving the office without worrying about chaos.
Okay. You've been through some bad situations, I think, yeah? Abdullah?
Setting an example.
All right, perfect. Doctora?
I have a phrase that I use for leadership, and I use more than 1 word.
Okay.
If it's seeing something wrong and doing something about it.
Okay.
I think it's about getting people together to believe in one vision. It's more than 3 words.
Perfect. That's a good segue for my questions. I'm going to start with the questions. We're going to keep it nice and short, but that's a great segue for my questions. So you said, can you repeat what you said again? I want everyone to hear this.
Getting people together to believe in a vision.
All right. So one of the main things that we're here to talk about today is Vision 2040. And one of the most difficult tasks for the government has been getting everybody behind Vision 2040. So we're going to touch base on each of these industries and see what Vision 2040 actually means and what are the changes that they've seen with this vision going. Aisha, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you very much.
So if we look at the goals of Vision 2040, how do you see Oman's progress in the last 4 years in general, and especially from an education sector's perspective?
Thank you, Murtada, for the very kind introduction. And I'd like to thank the organizers, Times of Oman, for including education sector in this conversation. In terms of Oman Vision 2040, the education sector, I just want to set the tone, first of all. I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Oman higher education sector is still a premature sector. The oldest established university today is Jamiat Sultan Qaboos, Sultan Qaboos University, that was established in 1986. And all the private colleges were established 10 years later. So in terms of the Global Innovation Index, when it comes to education, first of all, our GDP is 4.2%, which is excellent for high-income countries such as Oman, and one of the highest in the world, actually, when it comes to contribution. And also, the innovation input has increased tremendously in the Global Innovation Index. So this is really exciting time for the education industry in Oman and beyond.
Perfect. So, Abdullah, touching upon the same thing, you've got extensive experience in oil and gas, engineering, construction sectors, and everywhere. So how do you see the traditional industries with the Vision 2040? What's changing?
So, actually, even though you see that the change of the name, Ministry of Oil and Gas became Ministry of Energy. So we are going from just a focus on 2 sources of energy, which is the oil and gas, to actually focusing on the whole energy spectrum, be it from oil, gas,
solar, renewables in general, but also you've seen an addition which used to be there. So the minerals came back because it used to be the Ministry of Oil and Minerals. Now it's actually Ministry of Energy and Minerals. And that is another focus part of the economic diversity for the country. So while still we are marching ahead with extracting more oil and more gas and actually sustaining the economical development in the country, we are also diversifying. We can see diversity in mineral extraction. You can see it based on concessions. You can see it also in the green hydrogen project that has been announced. That's the focus and the drive, and that's actually recognized even internationally. Oman has the potential to become one of the world leaders in green hydrogen production and export. And that's the next path, inshallah, of energy development in Oman.
So you see that the vision is getting there. This diversification, this movement away from hydrocarbons, as they say.
Yes, but again, you need to understand what you are diversifying from. Oil is a beast in terms of economical impact. Just to put it into perspective, is you take $1 billion of an investment, you're going to produce 20,000 barrels at $50 a barrel. That's $1 million a day. That is 95% gross margins. Okay, you cannot replicate that with another business. Okay, you are talking about a product that's actually is wanted outside Oman, that you can export. Again, finding things that you can export and you can get the same value is very difficult. It's not impossible. People have done it. But what have they done? They actually leaned on whatever they have learned to create a knowledge-based economy. Today, our partner, and we have so many partners in oil and gas sector, energy sector, Shell, Exxon, we have Occidental Petroleum as well. Those companies started as local oil companies in their own countries. They've learned how to extract oil, and then they partner with other countries and they sold their knowledge base. So that is, I think, the future for Oman, is actually to take the knowledge that we have gained over the last 40, 50 years of extracting oil and gas and actually helping other countries extract their oil and gas reserves as well.
Perfect, thank you very much. Shabib, touching base on the same thing, in Vision 2040, tourism plays a huge role. It is one of the most focused sectors, I think, that's being looked at. So what are the profound changes that you've seen? And where do you think the tourism sector is going in the coming years?
If we've put it into perspective of hardware and software. So hardware, past 55 years, we did a phenomenal job from an infrastructure perspective. Not a lot of people know that Oman is at the top 10 destinations from road connectivity worldwide. That's a big deal, but we need to promote that. People do care about traveling to a destination where it's safe to drive and it's easy to go from one place to another. The other thing also, we look at the airports, the ports. That's a big change that happened the last 10 years. We can definitely do much better when it comes to positioning. So what is the offering of the country? Who are competing with us? We need to talk and become louder from that perspective. But going back to 2040 and looking at the numbers, the 2040, 11.7 million tourists annually is actually, we're over that mark when it comes to year-on-year targets. We're hitting 2025 target in 2023. And this is the good news. We're past the COVID numbers, the big slump that happened and affected the aviation and tourism. We're past that. But now we're looking at also what else. Is this number the number that we need to aspire to? Revisiting that, looking at also the offering that we have. We didn't have a lot of competition when it comes to adventure, when it comes to ecotourism. That is not the case. Now we look at our neighbors and what they're doing a phenomenal job. We still have this opportunity to find this niche and then connect and market and sell these wonderful experiences that we have.
So you are looking at these niche markets. Tourism is something that's very close to my heart. So I'm going to be asking you some more questions as we move on. Abdullah, another very important part of the vision is how to attract investments. And that's one of the most important things they're looking at. Now, you guys are one of the leading, if not the leading venture capital in Oman. I want you to tell us what changed in the last couple of years and how Phase Ventures has propelled or helped, and how can more venture capitalists like you help us attract the money that we need to help the tourism sector?
Yeah, so we started in 2018. And the ecosystem was just getting started, not just in Oman, but the venture and startup space in the Gulf was very, very new at that time. Maybe Dubai had a few players, Oman had none, Saudi was not even on the map at that point in time. So first of all, the regional context is that it's been huge growth in this sector since 2018 until now, both from a perspective of funding and attracting capital, but also in terms of number of startups, the outcomes, the exit potentials. We're having, we've had Oman exits, we've had regional exits that are quite large. And so, the space has evolved hugely in that time. And of course, Phase Ventures as well, in that time, we've tried to evolve as well with the space. We started off very focused on just working with different players to enable the basic infrastructure of the ecosystem when we first got started. So we did a lot of stuff with education, we did a lot of stuff with the government, we partnered with oil and gas, we launched the first energy tech accelerator program in the Middle East with PDO. So we did a lot of that kind of just enabling stuff. But as the market has grown, we've laser focused more and more on the investment side of things because the opportunities now are building themselves, let's say, but we're still involved with ecosystem partners in various areas. So it's evolved a lot, and we've evolved as well to focus more and more on the investment side of things. And alhamdulillah, we deployed several $1 million in Oman so far, and we're hoping to expand that in the future.
So you being in this let's say, somehow foreign direct investment, bringing in the investment, what has changed? What are the things that you say that have changed in the last 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's we are, at least speaking about the venture capital space and foreign direct investment, it's a little bit, we're at the tip of the arrow, so we have to take the pain of being the first. If 3 years ago we launched our Fund 1, so when we originally launched, we were investing our own capital. 3 years later, we launched Fund 1, which was about 95% raised with Armani capital. With participation, about 20% was government participation, 80% private sector. But now we're in the process of launching our second fund, inshallah, early next year. And we're looking at probably a mix of closer to 50-50. So, we're raising internationally now for the first time in a bigger way, not just with individuals, but also speaking to institutions outside of Oman. And so, yeah, it's changed in that it's possible. And in the venture capital space, as I said, we're probably the first who's doing this on that scale. So it's let's see how it goes, but I'm pretty optimistic that if we can do it, others can, and there are other players now in the VC space in the private sector, and so I hope when they get to their fund 2, we've taken that pain and
you've paved the way.
Paved the way, yeah. Hopefully that they can follow and raise internationally as well.
Perfect. Since we're on the funding part as well, thank you, Abdullah, for that. Doctora, the banking sector plays a key role in enabling a lot of Vision 2040. And when we look at in-country value, I think with SMEs, that's the biggest challenge that the banks have. So what would you say has changed as well in the last couple of years?
Of course, a lot of changes. Reflecting from my academic and practitioner background, I'd like to go back to the definition of sustainability. The definition entails that there is depletion of resources. And in fact, when I read a book about a sustainable state, there is a big question that we need to ask ourselves and the youngsters on what is development. If we are developing, meaning we are using resources, and we have to maintain a couple of these resources for the next generation to come. So thinking about SMEs, when they are using the resources and using the fundings across, the banks come as a fundamental significant role of their function is credit evaluation modeling. Whether they are feasible, they are sustainable, they are adding something to the community and economy in Oman. And there are several elements in country value. One of them is the banks supporting local suppliers, supply chain management, and as well providing opportunities for the SMEs in funding. Of course, that's very significant. However, we have to reflect and be realistic where we are going. With the Vision 2040, SMEs drive a very huge role in sustainability. In my research as PhD, I actually narrowed down and zoomed in SMEs, and I discovered in sustainability there are 3 dimensions that you have to focus on: the social, the environmental, and the economic, what we call the G in ESG as well. The SMEs are doing very well in social, which is I consider it part of our DNA as a Omani community. The SMEs are doing well in economic, but not all of the economic factors, such as Omanization. So we have to go back to the SME, how it is developed, what they are proposing, what is the contribution to the GDP they are bringing. However, one element that SMEs failed is the environmental. And if we're thinking sustainability, and with the ratings of Oman now being a very investor-focused country, and we are looking for FDIs, Murtada, I'm afraid that foreign direct investment doesn't come without screening the ESGs. They will demand for ESGs. And if we're not ready, I'm afraid that we are going to lose on that part.
You opened up another segue for me, and just for that, Uthman, your turn came in the right place. Yani. So she's talking about sustainability, and you're looking at 3D printing and innovation. So you've been a leader in this field, at least in Oman, maybe in the region as well. What are the main challenges that you think are there, and how do you foster this culture of innovation and change and looking at sustainability?
Yep, so if you ask an entrepreneur the very same question, what is the biggest challenge today? They will always answer with the same answer. It's funding or securing investment for your startup. Because in the early stages, in the early times of your startup, when in the idea stage, the pre-seed, if you talk 2 years back, there was only 1 or 2 options. You go to pitch for those VCs. If they don't believe in your idea, then that's it. We tried, in my startup, we tried even securing funding from other GCC countries. But in the early stage, it's really, really difficult to get funding. Today, we have 5 new VCs launched by Future Fund Oman. I believe that's Cypher, Ithka Group, Omantel, and 2 more funds. So we have 5 VCs, and things are getting better. Today, if there's an entrepreneur looking for funding, they have at least the luxury of being rejected by this VC, they go to the next one and then the next one. So things are getting better, but we do still have gaps. For example, startups like mine in the growth stage, in the Series A, Series B, I have to go for other countries to secure funding because so far all the VCs in the country are focused in the pre-seed and in the seed rounds, which is in the early 2 or 3 years. And then about the sustainability, there is in Europe we started to see the green financing. So if you're building a home, you do A, B, C in terms of the materials, the energy efficiency. You will get this green financing, which has lower rates. So me as an individual, even if I don't care about the environment, which is the case unfortunately for most people, I will care about the money, so I'll go for that green financing. So we started working on something similar in Oman. I think several banks are talking about green financing for residential units. Once that happens in Oman, even if concrete 3D printing, even if new technologies in construction are quite more expensive, people will go for it because they will save money eventually by having this green financing.
So from what I'm getting from you is innovation has to be subsidized.
Yes, and innovation is not only in the concrete printing, it's also in the financing. So banks need to innovate new solutions, new products to meet with the 2050 carbon zero emissions. And then I think we have good examples in Europe that we can adapt in Oman.
Perfect. So that leads me to you, Aisha. I'm going to come back with the same thing, sustainability, and you're looking at all this movement towards a lot of green that we hear. You've got green hydrogen, you've got sustainable building practices, you've got building codes coming in from a higher educational sector outlook. Oman's green economy goals. How is the higher education looking at that?
Okay. Let me just go back a little bit when it comes to the naming of the ministry. So the ministry in 2021 was called Ministry of Higher Education. Today it is changed to Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation, of which sustainability is a part of it. I can talk on behalf on myself and Modern College of Business, we recently launched the Sustainability Center, Istidama, in July, in order to incorporate in different areas of the college, which includes our curriculum. So we're revising all our curriculum to ensure that we have courses adapting to sustainability. We are also looking at our operational costs, the energy saving, the waste. We have an old building. There's so much that we can do when it comes to sustainability. And however, we are looking at also areas in terms of the ministry itself has set up a green committee, which is going to be involved for education. So we're still at our initial stages. But I'm really happy to share that Modern College of Business, although we are not the top players, but I believe we're the top players in terms of the private sector of colleges. We recently won an award through Times Higher Education, which is really important for higher education in Oman. There are two main ranking systems in the education world. One is QS ranking, and the other is Times Higher. And we actually were awarded third and fourth in Oman with another private university. We also, all higher education colleges in Oman. By the way, I come from industry. I have recently shifted into academia, so I always think industry first. There are also research. So initially, a lot of these colleges were a teaching college. So we're moving away from teaching to research, to innovation, to sustainability. So these are the pillars that we're in. The research papers that we write, surprisingly enough, is actually growing at a very fast pace. In particular, in high publishing papers like Scopus. Today, if you look at Modern College of Business, many of our papers covers all the 17 SDGs, which is a big milestone for the college. So yes, also partnering with industry is extremely important for us. We can't do this on our own as educators. You know, in other parts of the world, you will see the endowment comes from the industries. We are self-sustained. We are a non-profit private college, but we do need the contribution from, but it is of course, it is our responsibility to collaborate with industry as well.
Perfect, thank you, Aisha. Athman, one of the things that you touched up, or that Ma'amari touched up on, was that he has to compete now for financing from outside, not just inside. So when we're looking at the barriers of tech startups, right, in Oman, in terms of accessing venture capital, what can be done to create a more conducive environment, you think, for innovation-led funding in Oman? I want to ask you this question. Yeah.
Okay. So if we look at it from a tech startup or from companies, actually, okay, I come from video, so maybe I'll be biased when I talk about video.
I knew you were going to say something about video.
So reality is video is started this. So if we look at the certain companies, even Abdullah mentioned, one of the first startups, his first venture was with video.
Yes.
Okay. Rihal, very good example of a tech startup that started as a small company, now, alhamdulillah, is becoming a global company. That started in an innovation lab with video. It is actually, I would say it's the duty of the big companies is to create an opportunity for the local companies. It's only once you start supporting, providing support in terms of work, not in terms, it's not a free handout, that the venture capitalist will find an interest to actually invest in those companies, because at least you have proven that you can succeed. Today, Rihal doesn't need video. I think even if they get zero work from video, they will be fine. I'm sure other companies as well, they have started there. But that's a role that where the big companies can play. Not providing funding, but providing the environment where these companies can start. We also worked with, what they call Intertech as well.
Okay, perfect. So you also work. So you've got two partners sitting here, basically now. Yeah?
Maybe I'm sure there's more in the audience.
Third one is right here. Aisha was just saying she wants to partner up with you guys. So good opportunity.
Unfortunately, I'm out of video, but more than welcome to partner with the private sector.
Knowledge sharing is the key, I think, yes, of course. Shabib, when we look at tourism, again, what strategies is Visit Oman looking at? So I'm from the tourism, well, not really from the tourism sector, but I'm an avid overlander and off-roader, and I go off the beaten path a lot. And I have a YouTube channel that talks about all these places that are not publicized in Oman. And that was the main reason behind why I started that YouTube channel. So I don't yet see or feel that adventure tourism, as you talked about it, is actually being taken as seriously as it should be taken. So what is Visit Oman doing in terms of really diversifying our tourism sector? We don't need people to come in and stay at 5-star hotels and go to the Royal Opera House. I need people to come in and buy, keema paratha from Aboud's shop and spend money at one of the local stores. And we need more of that kind of, but what's really happening?
So what we've been working on the past 3 years is basically building a booking engine for Oman. It's a B2B booking engine. We have well over 200 local suppliers. 80% of our suppliers are local SMEs. So the likes of Aboud, if I can use that terminology. And then on the other end, the user, the buyer, the trade partners, we are active in 30 markets as of today. Aligned with the Ministry 2040 vision, the source markets that they go and promote Oman in. And also we look at the aviation part when we target new markets. Is it easy to bring tourist buyers? But then going back to B2B, we work with corporates that already sell different experiences all around the world. And we tell them, look at this booking engine. Now we made it easy to book Oman. And we have well over 200 different experiences. We're connected to 70 airlines, over 100 hotels, ground transportation, and we recently added also F&B. But we didn't stop there. So booking engine, Visit Oman, fantastic, good job, thank you. What else? People don't realize or don't recognize us as a brand. That will take many years to build that brand recognition, and we can reach the masses. So we have over 200 users, that's big corporations, that take our product and market and sell it on behalf of us, and the users, the suppliers would receive the guest. This year, we've launched a massive initiative through a new technology that does digital distribution. And this is where the small SMEs can benefit the most. They don't have the ability to travel to trade shows. They don't have the budget to be promoting every single day. That requires a lot of investment. We do that on their behalf, but we do it digitally. And what we've introduced to the technology is a channel manager. And channel manager basically, Murtawa, will take the content, the product, your product, and will push it through the booking engine to the biggest resellers. And the resellers that I'm referring to are the biggest apps in the world. And if you could imagine, the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism will advertise to Visit Oman, come look at this great opportunity. Users today won't go to the website of the ministry. They might go and read. They might visit our website, Visit Oman, and read something. But then they'll immediately jump on their mobile and look at Oman in the app of choice, the app that they're member of, the app that would give them the most loyalty points. I need to be available on that app from a product availability perspective, push the product, your product, the SME product, on the biggest apps that we have today. Alhamdulillah, we've launched this initiative this year. The technology went live March of this year. We're still in the testing phase, but we've signed already 10 resellers, 10 different apps, the biggest being Get Your Guide. Today, we are the biggest feeder of Omani product on Get Your Guide. And to put it in perspective, why is this important? 10 apps only gives us the ability to reach 110 million users. And this is the game changer in what we've been trying to achieve for the past 3 years. The target next year is to have 100 different resellers. And we're targeting Booking.com and Expedia. The scale there is totally different. So when the ministry goes out and does its fantastic and phenomenal job in advertising for Oman, come to Oman, I need to have the likes of Murtada and all the other brothers and sisters, the 80% SMEs, ready, geared up, digitized on my booking engine, quality assured. That's one of the things that we promise our buyers, that all the products are tested and quality assured. And I need to start pushing your product in the biggest platforms across the globe. Once we've hit critical mass, we can talk about what's the next thing for Visit Oman.
I think that's great. Abdullah, in the view of this, which sectors do you think hold the most growth for Oman in the coming years?
We have an international mandate, and so the way we think about things generally is where does the global growth opportunities lie, and what can we build to serve that from Oman. And we're particularly excited, obviously, about what's happening in AI. Not to be cliche VC here, but it's definitely very interesting, and I think we have a lot of really great talent in Oman on that front, which is kind of under the radar. But we do actually have great raw talent on that front, and I think applying AI into different B2B verticals, or even just verticals that traditionally are constrained by talent, or generally have a high cost of talent. I think those are areas that are really interesting to us right now. And if I get specific, example is AI in legal, or AI in healthcare. We're looking at a number of things there. AI in manufacturing, chip design. So yeah, those are areas that on a global level we are super interested in. Obviously, that applies to Oman. I think for founders who have that kind of background, it's probably the best time to be a founder if you have a background in data science or AI. It's a kind of paradigm shift right now that we haven't seen since maybe mobile came onto the scene, or if you go all the way back, it's probably as big as the hype of the dot-com bubble and the internet coming onto the scene.
One of the biggest disruptions that we're going to see.
Yeah, so it's probably the 1 in 10 year opportunity if you are a founder, if you have a background in data science, or even if you're not a founder and you want to start, join someone who has a business background and you want to solve for these areas, definitely come talk to us. But yeah, that's where we've been investing. I mean, literally our most recent investment was in AI in healthcare. So I think this is going to be an area, at least for the next few years, before the bubble bursts.
AI in general is going to be an area that's going to be booming in Oman. And we've got some great SMEs that we can talk about that are actually doing amazing things and innovating. I saw one of the videos about Maytham Al-Lawati's cloud hosting company just a few days ago, and his biggest clientele for that company is Japan. He's got more clients in Japan than he has in Oman, and it's an Omani-based company. So those opportunities are really there.
Yep.
When we come to the skills that are needed for this, you're in one of the most leading banks, Doctora, right? And I'm definitely sure, and you're handling their training and development as well. So what are the skills that you guys are now looking for in graduates? Because things are changing. Things are totally different than the way they used to be before, right?
Certainly. If we look at for ESG, it's going to become a mandate soon. I really believe that this is happening in the near future. So if I zoom down on ESG itself, I have to look on the standard setting bodies that govern sustainability. So there are 3 known at the moment, which is the Global Reporting Initiative, GRI. And then we have SASB as well, which is an American-based as well. And then we have the IRR, which is more integrated with the IFRS. In fact, now banks, we have to report on ESGs. So therefore, when we are thinking education, we're thinking higher educational institutions that are offering bachelors that are sustainability driven. And because I'm an avid professional qualification lover, I feel that it is really digestible for any corporate entity or individual who is interested in this line. Having said that, I do believe going forward that we need more qualifications from higher educational bodies, and we need more integration within our banking system. There is a very new role now in international banks called Chief Sustainability Officers. So this chief, I do not see him existing in any of our banks, except Abdullah would like to jump in.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I just remembered. We also invested in last year AI AI Chief Sustainability Officer. So,
Wonderful. So the change is coming.
Yeah.
I'm so happy
There you go.
that
You
the
can
change
hire that AI.
Wonderful. So the change is coming. The thing is, education is a master of significant element. I actually beg to differ when it comes to SME funding, that this is the most important, significant challenge with SMEs. In fact, SMEs in Oman have been funded extensively. And to be honest, Murtada, whenever I see one of the SME founders, I see, what did you do with the amount that you have received in the first instance? And they would tell me, yes. Did you buy a car? Murtada, 90% of them tell me yes. So the issue is the monitoring part. The monitoring part, the financial literacy part that comes with education. Certifications need to empower the youngsters to do very good decision-making process. I believe this is significant. We owe it to our youth. In fact, in the bank, we do have financial literacy programs. I received 60 students from one of the colleges. They selected their topics. Three topics: startup funding, funding SMEs, digitization. Look, our youth is telling us what they want. We have to listen to them. We have to do it as part of our CSR. We have to embed it within our strategies, not because we are doing it because this is a buzzword. It's not a buzzword anymore. It's becoming mandatory. Now it's on voluntary basis. I feel it's going to become mandatory. For future, I'm an avid supporter of sustainability, so I think Bagdufar is lucky to have me, to be honest with you, because I'm going to go and move forward in this agenda. But we are thinking on the graduate development program that we're having. We're gonna back it up with further digitization and AI tools. So this is the way I think moving forward would be.
I think great chance, Aisha, for you guys to collaborate on the graduate training program for sure with higher education. Touching up on that, when you have 30 from the introduction that I had, you have 30 people that have joined your team, right? And innovation and getting the right people in what you're doing, which is a very new way of thinking. He was just discussing with us. So I'm in Oman Housing Bank, and one of the biggest issues that we have as a bank is that when you have someone building a house, it takes them from 1.5 years to 2 years. يعتمد مقاول زين ولا المقاول ما زين وتتبهدلوا يعني. But it takes between 1.5 years to 2 years to build a house. But with 3D printing, he can build me a house in 3 months. And that's a huge, huge change, right? But getting the right mindset, the right people to join, what did you do?
That's one of the biggest challenges is acquiring talent and then keeping the talent, because we compete with BDO, we compete with the government. What I'm proud of is that some of our employees, and most of them in fact, they get offers with 20-30% extra salaries, and they say, no, I want to stay at Innotech because I believe in what I do. The thing with the new generations, the Generation Z and my generation as well, is that it's not only about payroll. It's about what do you like what you do? Do you believe in your day-to-day activity? Is it a routine that kills you, or is it a job that you like to wake up in the morning? So what I like about Innotech is that we have flexible hours. We have it's an R&D startup. What we do every day is different. Like this week we are doing R&D for some chemical that accelerates the hydration of cement, and then the next week we work on the next sensor that senses the speed of hydration in that wall. So the thing is that you will never get bored when you work at a startup. It's a tough job that you work from 8 to 8. Sometimes you work up to midnight. But the new generations, what I like about them is they choose their job very well. They don't look for the big names in oil and gas or in the government. They look for something that meets their passion. If they studied robotics in the university, then they insist that I have to work in robotics. So they go Google in Oman how many robotic startups we have, like Innotech, Answer, and maybe a little bit of Rihal, so 3 or 4. So I'm happy that we have this new generation, this mentality. And the thing that keeps them going is that the potential. You as a startup, you have a potential to secure the next funding, and then the next funding, and then to become a unicorn. And we have what we call ESOPs, employee stock options. So your employees are not only employees. They own a very small percentage of your business. So 10% of the shares of the startup are dedicated for high-performing employees. So by giving 1% to each employee, you keep them in the business. No matter how many offers they get from other businesses, they believe that I am a co-founder. I'm not just an employee that works 8 to 5 and khalas. No, I have something in this business. If this business goes big, if they go to the stock market, if they go IPO, or if they get acquired by one of the giants, then I will make a lot of money from that 1%. So I'm happy that we started to have this mentality in Oman. The new generations, they hunt you as a startup instead of us hunting talents. Talents come to our doorstep and they say, hey, I'm graduating in 3 months and I want to work with you. If you don't have a job, I'll work for free for 3 months. You let me know later on how can you hire me. So yes, that's what we have in Oman. I think that's a treasure that we need to capitalize on. I'm sure that other countries in the MENA region, they don't have that because the thing with Oman is that the population, it is a small population, but this small population is highly talented in programming. I think Abdullah agrees on this. I'm not sure what are the reasons behind this, but we have really good programmers in Oman, really good robotic engineers, really good designers and photographers as well. So these sets of talents are perfectly fit with startups. For some reason, we as Omanis, we love these, maybe because we have the nature, maybe because it's just what we are. But I'm sure that other startups from other GCC countries, they struggle to have local talents. They have to get international experts. In Oman, most probably, you can have 80% Omanization easily in any tech startup.
Yeah, I mean, even like look at Rihal or Fezro, the Omanization rate is basically almost 100% in areas of software engineering, data science, and design.
Yeah, one of those areas, again, I'll come back to you, Shabib, is adventure tourism. All of the guides that we have, or all the guides that we go out with, are all Omanis, they're all locals. And you don't find that in neighboring countries. Usually, most of the guides and the people that will be guiding you will not be from nationals from those countries, but we do have that treasure. Very, very true.
This is so important, Murtada. Yesterday I was attending a session with MasterCard, and the chief economist showed us a graph of when it comes to trends globally in tourism. People are seeking experiences more than anything else. And it's the number one factor for taking a decision to travel to a destination. And why experiences matter? Because it's all about the authentic experience. And this is an area that we're looking into in Visit Oman, to partner with local companies to push that agenda of experiences.
Perfect, thank you. So we're actually out of time. But just to end the panel, are there any questions, by the way? Would anybody like to ask any questions to any of the esteemed panel members?
Can I just say something quickly, because I think it's really important. I just wanted to raise something. One of the key milestones in education today, مثلا في Modern College of Business, is that we've seen a trend where there are more Omanis having more confidence in our colleges. So the private enrollment in our college has increased by 7%. And I think that just tells you something about education in Oman. Another thing is, because we are QS ranked, we are ranked with other Ivy League schools around the globe, right? So you have the resources. As a Western educated individual, I realized when coming back to work in a geopolitical environment that's very different than the way I was raised or I was taught theoretically, is very different to when you come to the workplace. So I think it's very important to consider local, just when you talk about sustainability, local education is equally important, right? For future generations to come. MCBS is from KG to PhD, and we welcome everyone to our college. Thank you.
Yeah, I would vouch for that. My kids go to that school, so yeah, I would definitely vouch for it. There was a question. Sumaya, yes. Just a second, Sumaya, they'll give you the mic. Now I'm going to act like a parrot, Sumaya. I'm going to repeat your question because we need it to be live for the cameras, and that's not feeding the cameras. So please go ahead.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and I wanted also to mention that it's true that when it comes to tourism, because I am tourism, I have a tourism as well. It's true that we have a lot of men tour guides, but unfortunately we do not have men tour guides who are actually, trying to do, to take people, because I do, like, I'm always out outside of every week, and then I do see that. And I hope that you guys offer that as well. The men who are actually taking
Yep. So we only work with
Shabib, I
corporates.
just need to repeat the question because
Sure.
they want it live. I'm really sorry. So, Sumaya was asking about the initiative that was launched by Visit Oman, and at the same time, she was also talking about the non-Omani tourist guides that are available. Over to you.
Yep. So we have a registration process, so it's not random. You need to apply. We take you through our own terms and conditions. One of it that you need to be licensed officially by the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism. If not, then we're not allowed to work with you by law. At the end of the day, we're part of Oman Investment Authority through Umran. We're fully owned by Umran. So we push the agenda for local SMEs. The initiative, we're yet to brand it. If you have a name, please suggest it. We launched it as a pilot and it's working. It's doing really well, even without pushing hard marketing behind it, because we wanted to test the technology to see and then learn and then probably go harder next year, inshallah.
So maybe we can run a competition. Times of Oman later on, maybe you guys can run a competition and get Visit Oman a good name for the platform that they're working on and the initiative that they've launched. Any other questions? There? You have a question there? Hina.
Up front.
Up front.
Question for Uthman regarding 3D. My understanding is 3D houses. How is that sustainability and effectiveness go compared to the other
Okay, so in terms of cost, I'll start with cost because that's the most important question.
So I got reminded I have to repeat the question, right? I forgot. So the question was with these 3D built houses, sustainability-wise, how are they? And cost-wise, what is the benefit of going with 3D built?
Yep. So in terms of cost, as of today, it is still more expensive compared to conventional construction, laying bricks on top of each other. And this is the case with all new technologies. If you go back to the solar power, the solar panels, they used to be expensive. In 3-5 years, they became more affordable. So concrete 3D printing today is seen as quite expensive, 5 to 8% more expensive compared to any conventional building. We believe in 2 or 3 years' time, it will be more affordable with the new R&D in the technology, in the material especially. In terms of sustainability, that is the most important part. We reduce the cement in the building, cement used in the building by 30%, replacing it with fly ash, limestone, and calcined clay. By reducing 1/3 of the cement in the building, you reduce 3 to 5 tons of carbon emissions. Lots of people don't realize that cement industry is one of the most harmful industries in the world. It is the most harmful, in fact. The aviation industry in the world combined is contributing 6% of the CO2 worldwide. The cement industries are 8%. It's even higher than all aviation, all airlines worldwide combined cannot compete with the cement industries in carbon emissions. So cement is one of the biggest enemies for the environment. We are reducing that by 1/3 in each building. So that's a big thing. The next thing is the energy efficiency. Unfortunately, in the Gulf countries, 60 to 70% of your electricity bill goes to air conditioning because of the poor insulation in the building. Most of the heat goes into the house and out easily. With the 3D printed wall, you can control the wall thickness, the cavity inside the wall, and we install what we call inflatable foams inside the walls. We basically turn your house into a cool box. So you'll be saving 50% of your energy and then reducing the amount of power needed that needs to be generated and then reduce the carbon footprint. So in terms of sustainability, there is a big impact that this technology promises, but the cost is still a bit higher.
I'd just like to add also one point, especially around the labor market for such buildings. You actually move away from low-skill labor market to high-skill labor market, which is more sustainable for Omanis to come in. Today, I cannot get an Omani who will get paid 120 riyals to go and build a house because I need a lot of them. If I go 3D printing or technology-based construction, I reduce the number of laborers. That means I can increase the salary that is being paid to the staff or the employees that's working there. And that can make it attractive for Omanis to come to that sector. And also, it's more about technology sector, so he's working in technology than actually working as a construction worker.
All right, thank you very much. Mariam Zajjali is here with us. Of course, if you guys don't know, she runs Dar al-Ata, and I think you need to speak to Uthman. You've got some great projects that you're building houses. Well done. I think Dar al-Ata needs a big round of applause. They do so much for the community. But I think you really need to get in touch with him. Sustainable houses. I'm trying to connect everybody today, trying to get some business going here. Maybe Phase Ventures need to have someone like me with them as well. But see, Phase Venture Innovation Lab. So
we'll connect as well.
A lot of connections being done here. Thank you all for being with us. I think there's one. I'll take the last question from there, and then we will. There's also one here. Oh, we're getting good questions. Are you guys okay with staying on for a few more questions? Yeah. All right.
Speaking of, actually, you said something that I was going to ask about. You said we're connecting everyone together. And one of the things I feel like, you look at all of the competitors in the region, they all work hand in hand with their competitors to make sure the tourism and growth is coming to their country. They push away the work competitors because they know that the more people they bring, they will all be full in terms of hotels, in terms of tourism and all that. So for me, from our side, how is Oman tackling that when it comes to tourism, of working together to make sure we get more tourism, inshallah, in the future?
I'm guessing this is going to Shabib, right?
Not Uthman?
No, it's going to you, I think. The question, yes. So the question is, or basically what she's saying is instead of looking at competition as competitors, a lot of companies are now looking at it as a collaborator. So where are we in the tourism sector when it comes to all the competition that's there? Are we really collaborating?
The question would, I'll tackle it through different stages, I would say. There is the local competition here, and I think I agree with you. We need to get into clustering. It's easier said than done, but leaders from the community need to sit together and figure out how and what and who they need to talk to bring more inbound tourists. The other element I think that we're missing here in Oman, and we can definitely do a better job, is domestic tourism. And a lot of people that you talk to, and especially us when we go meet different stakeholders and we show them pictures of local SMEs and different experiences, we get surprised that they never heard of them. They never knew that these experiences existed. And they always ask us, how can I get this experience? And we looked at an opportunity this summer in collaboration and funding from the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism. We launched hand in hand the first domestic campaign. And it's a pilot. Some of you might have seen it, Live the Vibe.
Live the Vibe with the bus, right?
Yeah, it was digital. And we added a booking engine to it. The pilot worked, and now we're revisiting that. But it's all an effort of different stakeholders coming together. If you take that step further, and this happened this year, you get into dual destinations. And what do I mean by that? Recently, we've signed an agreement past March with Visit Saudi. And basically, dual destination, we will target the same source market. The same individual, the same family, the same couple that will come to Saudi Arabia will finish their trip in Oman, and vice versa. The same target would come to Oman and then will continue into Saudi Arabia, and then they finish their tour. This opens many doors because once you do that and it's successful, you could work very closely with airlines and you tell them, listen, I'm targeting this destination, this source markets. Let's work together. Airlines want to sell tickets, hotels want to sell rooms, and then the entire ecosystem changes. Again, this is not easy because at the end of the day, we are competing for the same source markets. We had a fantastic relationship with Visit Saudi, and they suggested this. The Minister of Heritage and Tourism blessed the agreement, and we've announced it. Now we're getting into the details. We just activated India, and we're looking at another 7 source market where the same individual, the same tourists that will come to Oman end up in Saudi, and vice versa.
That's great. I think there are lots of, in the tourism sector especially, there are lots of good learnings that we have. One of the examples that I always use is Al-Aqar in Nizwa. All the people in Nizwa, all the local community in Nizwa came together, collaborated, did not compete to that extent, and you can see how successful that area is. And that needs to be, duplicated and pushed onto other areas.
It's worth mentioning it happened organically.
Yes.
So no one pushed for them to work together. And I think these initiatives, will get more.
an outcome of MCBS, our alumni.
Perfect. All right, so we'll take the last question, which was right there.
Hello. You can hear me well?
Yes.
Thank you. My question is to Mr. Abdullah Al-Shaksi. Abdullah, if I were to name one single most important or focused opportunity for the next 10 years in Oman, do you agree that this could be the progress or proposition of green hydrogen? And if you agree, then what is your fund and your organization doing to promote it? Thank you.
Okay, so I need to repeat, Abdullah, I'm sorry. So the question is green hydrogen the next big opportunity in Oman?
Yeah, so I guess it was a dual question. What do I think is the big opportunity, and is green hydrogen one of those opportunities? So yeah, I do think that green hydrogen is going to be an interesting opportunity. For Phase Ventures, however, we have looked a lot in the energy sector. This was one of the first sectors actually that we focused on because of our partnership with PDO. So we've invested in CCS, and we've invested in geoscience and other areas. I think where green hydrogen is today, at least for the VC market, it's not really accessible market for us. These are much larger scale projects, PE-backed projects, debt finance projects. So we would be focused more on if there are new, maybe technology plays that come out, we could be interested in. It is within our mandate to invest in that. So yes, it's going to be a big market. There's a huge amount of capital being poured in it right now in Oman, and Oman is going to be probably one of the leading globally producers of green hydrogen. But for us as Phase Ventures, it's not something that we're currently actively looking at. We have spoken to some green hydrogen tech players, but the maturity of the market is just at a place now where the technology is actually there. It's mostly that the industrial infrastructure that's being built today. What I do think will be something that's still in the territory, let's say, of VC is as I mentioned before, I think looking at opportunities to apply AI in areas where there's either high level of talent constraint, or it's an area that is an extremely expensive talent is required. So again, healthcare, looking at legal and all these areas.
I was about to come to you. I knew you would want to add to it.
Yeah, actually, maybe I will differ.
And geoscience, actually, we've invested in AI in geoscience.
So, reality is, as Abdullah said, is okay, these are big investment, but again, the whole supply chain is not unknown, but it's still to be developed. Okay, there is an opportunity even for small companies in Oman to contribute to that supply chain, be it from an operation, from a manufacturing point of view, or from operation maintenance. Reality is, if you can look at it in terms of AI is going to play a big factor in actually harnessing more sun rays than what is currently there. There is a big opportunity around CSP, consolidated solar power. That is a big area that's going to come as an investment. One of the biggest problems with CSP is how to track the sun. AI is going to play a factor there. A lot of players is going to be there. And if we are not the first, we will just be implementing other new technologies. So there's an opportunity with that fact as well.
There's many opportunities, I think, in the energy sector itself. A lot of changes coming there. I can't remember the name of the company, but there was one company that came up a couple of years back, and they were focused on how to get your solar panels cleaned, automated robotics. I can't remember the name of the company. Would you know them, Abdullah? I don't.
I think, yeah, there was a few that focused in that area.
And they've taken that technology and it's now being used in one of the biggest, solar plants that is being put in Oman. So there are a lot of opportunities, I think, there. But this is going to probably be the last question that we take from the panel. But before we end the panel, sitting here and seeing all these brilliant minds, there's one thing that we all should be very aware of and very proud of, is that Oman بخير, ترى عنا عقول وعنا شباب, and we will get there. It's just a matter of how much we push to get there and how much we actually focus on the talents that we have. A big round of applause, please, to the panelists, and thank you very much for being with us today. I think we take a group picture. Yeah? You guys want a group picture, right?